Rebirth and confessing 100 times, the school Belle finally accepted. Chen He, why did you stand up suddenly? In the classroom of grade 3 and grade 4 in Sanhe No. 2 middle school, the beautiful head teacher Zhang Rou looked at a boy in the last row in confusion. The eyes of all the students in the class were focused on this man. Isn't this the grade 3 classroom? Am I reborn back to 2005? Chen He looked a little dazed. The young faces and the familiar classroom were like a real and illusory dream. Hurry up and sit down. You are not really going to confess to Feng Yiman, are you? My deskmate Zheng Xiaobing lowered his head and gently pulled his trouser leg with his hand. Yes. Today, he was going to confess his love to Feng Yiman, whom he had always liked, in front of everyone in the classroom. This was Feng Yiman's request. She said it was a test for him. As long as she completed this test, Feng Yiman would consider dating him. Chen He looked to the right of the first row in the middle. Feng Yiman was looking at him, her eyes full of expectation and playfulness. Memories came like a tide. After confessing his love to Feng Yiman in front of everyone, he was kicked out of the classroom by the head teacher Zhang Rou. Since then, he has become a laughingstock in the class. Every year at the class reunion, he would be whipped and become a topic that everyone never tired of talking about. It's just that Feng Yiman didn't give Chen He an accurate answer until the end of the college entrance examination. This is considered a failed confession. It should be. Chen He laughed at himself. He didn't expect that he was so naive and gullible when he was young. Chen He, what did you say? Zhang Rou didn't hear what Chen He said clearly. Teacher Zhang, I mean, you've worked hard, stay up less late, so the dark circles will fade. Chen He showed a big boy's sunny smile. Don't think that I will forgive you for being late today just because you say a few nice words. Zhang Rou said with regret. Chen He looks good, but he is a rubbish in academics. Not only does he have the lowest grades, but he is also often late for class. Such a student will only lower the admission rate of her class. Zhang Rou has completely given up on Chen He. Teacher Zhang, I know I was wrong. I won't go home after school. I will clean the classroom before leaving. Chen He said seriously. Sit down. Zhang Rou waved her hand impatiently, but she just had an illusion that Chen He seemed different today. It is difficult to change a person's nature. How could such a poor student really reform himself? Classmates, continue the class. Zhang Rou opened the textbook. When Chen He sat down, he saw that Feng Yiman was very disappointed and seemed a little angry. Good job, brother, you didn't embarrass me. Zheng Xiaobing was completely relieved. When Feng Yiman made this request, he was also present. For 3 years, he saw Chen He's dedication and feelings for Feng Yiman, and he also saw Feng Yiman's character. It's just that Chen He was confused by the situation and always believed that he would be able to impress Feng Yiman one day. If Chen He really confessed just now, he was ready to draw a line with Chen He. Zheng Xiaobing didn't want people to know that he had a shameful deskmate. Chen He didn't listen to a word of Zheng Xiaobing's chatter. In his previous life, he was too simple. He thought he could win a woman's heart by being sincere. But the truth is, Feng Yiman just used him as a tool to satisfy her vanity. At that time, Chen He was completely obsessed. He was wholeheartedly doing good for Feng Yiman, buying her breakfast in the morning and giving her expensive gifts during festivals. Chen He's parents were ordinary workers with average family conditions. Most of his living expenses were spent on Feng Yiman. But Feng Yiman did not formally respond to Chen He's feelings until she graduated from high school. Later, she watched Feng Yiman marry a rich second-generation man. Chen He finally gave up. But because he fell in love early and hated studying, he didn't even get into college. For his future, his parents used their connections to get him into an internet company. It was said to be a 9-to-5 job, but in fact he had to work overtime until 11 o'clock every night. He worked harder than a cow, and he was as tired as a dead dog when he returned home every day. Because of frequent overtime, his body had problems early. Before he died, he was lying on the hospital bed. Feng Yiman did not come. He did not hate Feng Yiman. After all, she was the white moonlight in his heart, and he could only say that he was too naive when he was young. Thinking of his past life, he was over 30 years old, and he had not yet started a family. His parents were getting older day by day, and they did not live a good life until they died. Chen He felt very guilty. Relive his life. He decided not only to live for himself, but also did not want to disappoint his parents, make them suffer and sad again. He still had to go to college and make money. Since I can start over again, I want to live a different life this time. During the break, Chen He met Feng Yiman in the corridor. With a single ponytail, a high-nose bridge, and a delicate face, it can be seen that the body in the school uniform is very thin, which adds a bit of fragility. Although she is not wearing makeup, she looks very pure and girlish. Feng Yiman has a cold face and seems to be still angry. Chen He, you didn't keep your promise. You promised me to accept the test and confess to me in class. You are a coward. Chen He said expressionlessly, if you say it is, then it is. Just kidding. After listening to you, being laughed at by classmates for a lifetime, I am not a coward. Feng Yiman was stunned. She didn't expect Chen He to be too lazy to explain, and she was even more angry in her heart. I will never talk to you again. Oh. What is your attitude? Are you done? Chen He yawned. Feng Yiman felt that Chen He was deliberately irritating her. Tomorrow morning exercises, you confess to me on the playground. If you pass the test, I will consider being your girlfriend. She decided to give Chen He another chance. There is still a month before the college entrance examination. Let's focus on studying hard. Chen He said absent-mindedly. In fact, he didn't care what Feng Yiman said now. Feng Yiman said sarcastically. With your last place grades in the past 3 years, you tell me to study? You should get into a third-tier university first. I can tell you that I plan to apply to Jiangcheng University. If you can get in, I can also consider being your girlfriend. Chen He nodded and said, okay, I will get into Jiangcheng University. Knowledge changes destiny, he deeply understands this sentence. He could have ignored Feng Yiman. But he wanted to give Feng Yiman a slap in the face after living a new life. Feng Yiman was happy and thought that Chen He made this promise for her. When Feng Yiman returned to the classroom, her deskmate Jiang Han was slightly angry and said, what's wrong with Chen He? Didn't he agree to confess to you in front of the class teacher? I made a bet with others in advance, and now I lost 20 yuan. Feng Yiman said indifferently, he probably got scared. I was really afraid that he would confess to me in class. He couldn't do better. It's not my fault. He didn't seize the opportunity. Jiang Han sneered, he said he would do anything for you, but he can't do such a small thing. He also wants to apply to the same university as me. I don't know where his confidence comes from. Feng Yiman didn't believe Chen He could do it. When Chen He returned to the classroom, he dove into the pile of books. He didn't study well in his previous life, so he must seize the opportunity this time. This shocked his deskmate Zheng Xiaobing, who touched Chen He's forehead. You don't have a fever. Go to hell, don't bother me, I want to concentrate on studying. What are you reading? Did Feng Yiman give you a cold shoulder? Are you upset? I'll ask you to go online. No, I want to study for myself and live like a human being. Chen He stared at the English textbook without raising his head. Zheng Xiaobing was stunned. He felt that Chen He seemed to have changed a little. But this change is a good thing after all. Are you really not going to go online? No. Feng Yiman sat in the front row and looked back at the last row of seats. I'm right, he will definitely study hard for me. Jiang Han raised a thumbs up, it has to be you. This made Chen He very upset. If he really passed the exam, you wouldn't really agree, right? Let's talk about it when the time comes. Feng Yiman actually never thought about dating Chen He. Chen He couldn't give her the life she wanted. She just liked the vanity of being pursued and obsessed by Chen He. It's your birthday tomorrow. Guess what birthday gift Chen He prepared for you? Jiang Han asked. It's probably another watch worth dozens of dollars. I'm tired of it. Feng Yiman said with a look of disgust. Chapter 2, Chen He's change. The class is over. The bell for the last period of the morning rang, and Zhang Rou said it without much emotion before closing her textbook and walking out of the classroom. It was lunchtime, and the students eager for food rushed out of the classroom. I'll go grab a seat, hurry up and catch up, said Zheng Xiaobing, darting out of his seat. He was one of those who couldn't wait to eat. Chen He picked up his English textbook. Since he had decided to change, he intended to make the most of every moment he could spend studying. Feng Yiman had gotten her lunch and was sitting with Jiang Han and a few other female classmates. At this moment, Zheng Xiaobing's muffled voice came from behind. Chen He, over here. Zheng Xiaobing waved his hand, still chewing something. Chen He noticed him and walked over to the seat, continuing to eat while reading his book. He had fallen behind so much in his studies that he needed to catch up as quickly as possible. Chen He, I'm thirsty. Can you buy me a bottle of juice? Feng Yiman smiled sweetly. Jiang Han and the other girls were all watching Chen He, their expressions filled with disdain. Chen He pretended not to hear, seemingly lost in his English book, as if it had an irresistible allure. Hey, don't you go. If you're going, get me a bottle of juice too. Zheng Xiaobing, seeing Feng Yiman and Jiang Han, cursed in his heart. He regretted not sitting farther from them. Do you think I have money in my pocket? All right, bro, you're getting smart, Zheng Xiaobing replied happily. His good buddy had finally turned over a new leaf. Go ahead and eat. Chen He didn't even look up. He knew Feng Yiman's intentions. She just wanted to show off in front of her classmates, flaunting how obedient she could make him. It was nothing but her vanity. In his past life, he had been blinded by the same foolishness. This time, he wasn't interested. Seeing that Chen He didn't respond, Jiang Han and the other girls shifted their gaze. Maybe he didn't hear you, Feng Yiman said, trying to cover up the awkwardness. She shot a glare at Chen He. Being humiliated in front of classmates was something she couldn't stand. She would make him pay for it later. More students were leaving the cafeteria, and Chen He's table had emptied out a bit. Zheng Xiaobing went to return his tray. Feng Yiman walked up to Chen He and demanded, why didn't you go buy me juice just now? Jiang Han chimed in, do you know how embarrassing you made Yiman look? You're not anyone important to me, plus, you didn't even give me any money, Chen He said matter-of-factly. In the past 3 years, he had done so much for Feng Yiman, but she had never once spent a single penny on him. Feng Yiman was stunned, unable to believe that these words were coming from Chen He. She was furious. How could you be like this? It's just a few bucks for a drink, can you be so stingy? Jiang Han immediately added, Chen He, you'd better apologize to Yiman. She might forgive you. Just then, Zheng Xiaobing came back and slung his arm around Chen He, pulling him out of the cafeteria. I heard everything, man. Want to go play a few rounds tonight? My treat. Not tonight. I have to go home after school and go over my exercises, Chen He replied. And just like that, they walked out, ignoring Feng Yiman. How could he be like this? Yiman, you really misjudged him. Jiang Han couldn't take it anymore, pointing at Chen He's retreating figure, feeling sorry for her best friend. Feng Yiman trembled with anger, struggling to catch her breath. She couldn't accept that Chen He had actually just walked away like that. Chen He, she suddenly shouted at his back. From now on, don't ever appear in front of me again. But Chen He had already walked out of the cafeteria. Yiman, Chen He is really acting strange. Jiang Han remarked. It's fine. I know his little tricks. He can't live without me. He's just pretending to be distant, playing hard to get. Believe me, he'll apologize to me before school ends, Feng Yiman said confidently, still unaware of the bigger picture. On the podium, the math teacher was explaining a new formula. Chen He felt like he was listening to a foreign language. His foundation was weak. As a bottom-tier student, he spent most of his time either sleeping, fooling around, or surfing the internet. And he had missed so many classes. It was a miracle that he could even understand anything at all. I need someone to tutor me, he thought. The idea came to him, and Chen He started scanning the classroom. Math was different from other subjects. As long as you understood the problem-solving approach, you could solve 100 problems the same way. Many big problems were tricky but still followed the same basic principles. What he lacked most was a variety of problem-solving strategies. After the class ended, Chen He diligently took notes, marking down the areas he didn't understand. Feng Yiman sat up straight, pretending not to care but actually keeping an eye on Chen He's every move. She was sure he would come apologize to her. The school bell rang for the end of the day, but Chen He didn't come to find her. Feng Yiman's patience was starting to wear thin. She had planned to go home and watch her favorite Korean drama after school, but now she was waiting for an apology. What should I do? It's so hard to choose. In the end, she gave up on her drama and waited for Chen He. Chen He had asked Zheng Xiaobing to leave first because he had promised Zhang Rou he would stay behind to do some duties. He then walked over to the first desk in the left row. Feng Xia, could you help me with my math homework? The short-haired girl who was about to leave hesitated but happily agreed. Feng Xia was the class representative for math and loved helping classmates. I'll go first, said her deskmate, waving goodbye and leaving the classroom. This problem is easy to solve. We need to use two formulas. Let me show you how to do it, Feng Xia said, picking up a pen and starting to write on the notebook. Chen He watched her for a moment, lost in thought. So, when you look closely, Feng Xia is actually quite good-looking. While not as stunning as Feng Yiman, her facial features were delicate, her skin fair, and though her hair was short, it still made her appear soft. If she grew her hair out and wore light makeup, her looks would easily score a 9. This was the first time he had spoken to Feng Xia. In his past life, they had never interacted. Later, he found out that Feng Xia went abroad for further studies after graduating from university, and he never heard of her getting married. She must come from a wealthy family, but why hadn't she gotten married? Was it because she had found someone she liked? Chen He, solving math problems often requires changing approaches. This problem has at least 10 solutions. I know you still have to clean up, so I'll explain it to you tomorrow, Feng Xia's gentle voice interrupted his thoughts. Thank you, Feng Xia, he said. You're welcome, she replied, her face slightly reddening as she quickly packed her things and left the classroom. When all the other students had left, Chen He began cleaning the classroom. Yiman, you're really not leaving? Chen He has no intention of apologizing. You might as well give up, Jiang Han pointed at Chen He, who was sweeping the floor at the back. Feng Yiman gritted her teeth, her body trembling with anger. She stood up suddenly. Maybe he just hasn't figured out how to apologize yet. Let us go. She had missed her favorite Korean drama just to wait for Chen He's apology. After cleaning up, Chen He left the classroom and grabbed his bike from the garage. Memories flooded his mind, and as the sky darkened, his shadow stretched long like a sword capable of slicing through the darkness. Chapter 3, The class representative won't like me, right? Feng Yiman and Jiang Han were pushing their bicycles side by side, and Feng Yiman's appearance always caught the attention of the boys around her. A small smile tugged at the corners of Feng Yiman's lips as she reveled in the attention she was getting. As soon as they left the school gate, Feng Yiman suddenly stopped, growing angrier with every passing thought. What right did Chen He have to act so aloof around her? Yiman, tomorrow's your birthday. I've got a gift for you, see you tomorrow. Okay, be safe on the way home. Feng Yiman parted ways with Jiang Han, but instead of heading home immediately, she stood by the school gate, waiting. Just as Chen He was pushing his bike out of the gate, he spotted Feng Yiman standing there. Their eyes met. Chen He felt nothing, and was about to ride off when Feng Yiman suddenly stretched out her hand. Give it to me. Give what to you? Chen He was confused. Feng Yiman took a deep breath, trying to maintain a smile. The gift, of course. Tomorrow's my birthday, and you stayed behind to clean only when the classroom was empty, right? I stayed to clean because I was late for class today and accepted the punishment. It has nothing to do with you, Chen He responded frankly. What was wrong with this girl? Was she so narcissistic that she thought everyone revolved around her? Seeing that Chen He wasn't lying, Feng Yiman finally realized it was her own misunderstanding. She became angry. Could you stop being so childish? I know you're trying to get back at me in this way, trying to grab my attention. But it's useless. I think you're the childish one. You're too presumptuous. Chen He wasn't in the mood to argue with her. This girl was clearly out of her mind. As she watched him leave, Feng Yiman sneered. Caught in your own lie, running away when you can't save face. What a coward. She got on her bike, frustrated at having wasted time waiting for Chen He. At the Brightness residential complex. As Chen He arrived on his bicycle and was about to stop, a black Mercedes pulled up beside him. The back door opened, and Feng Xia's delicate figure appeared in front of him. Chen He, I noticed your math foundation is weak. These are my class notes. I hope they help you. You came all the way here just for this. Chen He was surprised. Because I think you really want to improve your math. I'm the class representative, so helping you is part of my responsibility. Thank you, Feng Xia. I'll borrow these notes for a few days and return them after I've finished. Chen He took the notebook from her. Opening it, he was struck by the neat, beautiful handwriting. Your handwriting is really beautiful. Chen He couldn't help but compliment. Feng Xia lowered her head slightly, her face flushed, but she smiled happily. Chen He, you want to get into a decent university, right? I want to apply to Jiangcheng University. My math foundation is weak, so I'll need your help. Jiangcheng University. You have good ambitions. Keep it up. Don't hesitate to ask me for help, I like helping classmates. Chen He suddenly asked, are you planning on applying to a top university, like one of the 985, 211 schools, or even Tsinghua, Peking University, Fudan, or Nankai? Although she was the class representative for math, Feng Xia's grades in all subjects were among the best in the class. Getting into Tsinghua or Peking University wouldn't have been surprising. On the contrary, it would be surprising if she didn't make it. Feng Xia smiled as she looked up, her eyes curving into crescent moons. I have the same ambition as you. See you tomorrow, Chen He. She slowly stepped back, waved, and then got into the car. The engine roared to life, and the car drove away. Chen He waved at the retreating Mercedes. When did she start making jokes? Chen He recalled that Feng Xia was never one for humor. Her last comment was a huge contrast to her usual self. Suddenly, Chen He froze. An incredible thought flashed through his mind. One day, some of the boys in their class had been discussing that they once saw Feng Xia near the entrance of Zhang Business College. Zhang Business College. It was the very same third-tier private university where Chen He had studied in his past life. Why would someone like Feng Xia, so outstanding, go to Zhang Business College? Was she just passing by? Or was she looking for someone? Boom! An unbelievable thought exploded in his mind. Could it be, she secretly likes me? And she found out I studied at Zhang Business College, so she came to look for me. But quickly, he dismissed the idea. He chuckled bitterly to himself. Since when did he become as narcissistic as Feng Yiman? Feng Xia probably just passed by Zhang Business College for no special reason. Chen He arrived at the apartment complex. Past memories rushed back to him. When he had graduated from the worthless third-tier university, his parents had been so worried about him. They were aging, and he had finally come to his senses and started working hard. But in the end, he had overworked himself, ruining his health. Instead of being able to support his parents in their old age, he had caused them to bury him while they still had their health. Mom, Dad, I'm back. I won't make the same mistakes again. Meanwhile, in the backseat of the Mercedes, Feng Xia watched the scenery rush by, her face flushed, and her heart still racing. Chen He, I believe in you. You'll definitely get into Jiangcheng University. Suddenly, a happy smile appeared on Feng Xia's face as she thought of something. At the entrance of the apartment complex, Chen He saw a middle-aged woman carrying a basket of vegetables walking toward him. You're so handsome, young man. You must have inherited your mom's good genes, right? Chen He couldn't help but feel awkward. He put his arm around the woman's neck. Mom, don't say that. I still have my pride. Han Li pushed him away, a bit disgruntled. I'm just stating facts. It's said that sons take after their mothers. Who dares to argue? Chen He put on a big smile. I was wrong, Mom. I should have been more respectful. Thank you. Without your good genes, there would be no me. Han Li's expression softened. That's more like it. At least you've got some conscience. Mom, who was the girl you were talking to earlier? The one in the Mercedes. She must be rich, right? Is she your classmate? She's the class representative for math. She's smart, kind, and comes from a good family. Chen He hugged his mom as they walked into the building. Be careful, don't go after people like that. We're just ordinary folks, and we're not on the same level. Got it. I got it, Mom. I know my place. She's way too good for me. Don't say that. My son is the best in the world. Han Li playfully slapped Chen He on the back of his head. Ow, that hurts. Be gentle, Mom. This is my breadwinner right here. If you break it, you'll have to support me for the rest of your life. Chen He joked, even though it didn't hurt. In fact, he wished his mother would hit him a few more times. Han Li grunted and teased, "You never know how to say something nice. If you get crippled, I'll have to take care of you for the rest of your life." When they reached the building door, Han Li pulled out the key to open it. "Come on, get inside." Chen He's eyes were a little misty, but he nodded and replied happily, "Okay, I'm coming." Chapter for My Son Grows Up. Although they live in a residential complex, the Chen family's house is rented. The house, which is less than 60 years old, is where Chen He grew up. It carries a lot of youth and memories. "I'm back, wash your hands and get ready to eat." Chen Kachin got off work early today. Seeing Chen He standing at the door in a daze, he waved at him. "Dad, Mom." Looking at his parents when they were young, Chen He had the illusion that he was in a dream. If this was a dream, he hoped to never wake up. "What are you standing there for? You asked me to invite you in." Han Li said unhappily, put on an apron, and went into the kitchen to prepare dinner. "Hey, I'll come in by myself." Chen He quickly went into their house, closed the door, and changed his shoes in one go. "Dad, Mom, I'm going to go back to my room and do some homework." Chen Kachin was stunned for a moment and wanted to say something, but Chen He had already entered the room. "Come to the kitchen. What happened to our son? How can you talk like that? Can't you just talk properly?" Han Li rolled her eyes at her husband. Chen Kachin realized that he had said the wrong thing and quickly slapped his lips with his hand. "I mean, why is our son suddenly so studious? Maybe he made an appointment with someone else." The image of the rich girl at the door emerged in Han Li's mind. "What agreement? You wouldn't understand even if I told you. If you don't tell me, what do I know? Are you going to argue with me? Okay, I won't cook this meal." Han Li got angry and was about to take off her apron. "Wife, please listen to my explanation. I was wrong. I'll slap you in the face. Please calm down, my dear." Chen Kachin also gave in immediately. "Wash the basin of beans on the table." "Yes, my dear wife." In the bedroom, Chen He did several English exercises in succession. He had a good foundation in liberal arts, and the subject of English mainly tested grammar and sense of language. Of course, if his oral ability is tested, he is fully capable of handling it. Finish the exercises. Chen He changed into a white sweatshirt and picked up a basketball to play with it in his hands. "In my previous life, with my background and circumstances, I could not change my fate of poverty until I died, but now it is different. If you want to change your background, you can only go to college. Take advantage of the fact that there are not too many college students yet. The era of involution in all walks of life has not yet arrived." Chen He discovered that the time of his rebirth seemed to be the best time. In the past, social security was poor and lives were not protected. In the future, the internal competition will be serious, with hundreds of people competing for one job. Live a new life. After several days of hard study, he found that the high school knowledge was not that difficult to understand. This made him more confident in the college entrance examination. As for no longer being poor, the only thing he could do was to make money. With the memories before his rebirth, Chen He was extremely confident that this was the best era and an era full of opportunities. It is not difficult for Chen He to see business opportunities earlier than those business tycoons. For dinner, Chen He had a few home-cooked dishes and a big bowl of egg soup. He was sweating profusely while eating. He wasn't starving to death, but his eating habits were quite ugly. Fortunately, this is his own home, and his parents won't dislike him. At most, they will tell him to eat slowly and not choke. "Mom and Dad, eat some food." Chen He also did not forget to put some food in his parents' bowls. Han Li and Chen Kachin looked at each other and felt an indescribable feeling in their hearts. Their son seemed to have grown up and matured. After dinner, Chen He offered to wash the dishes. Han Li couldn't persuade him and had to agree. Looking at Chen He's busy back at the sink, Han Li was distracted for a moment. "Old Chen, this seems to be the first time our son is washing dishes. It's not as if, it's just the first time, this kid finally got it. Isn't it good that he has come to his senses? My son is so outstanding." "He is my son too, how come you have him all to yourself?" Chen Kachin said dissatisfiedly. "I gave birth to you after 10 months of pregnancy." Han Li puffed out her chest. Chen Kachin immediately admitted defeat. "You are awesome, okay. After washing the dishes, Chen He took out his clothes and washed them again. Han Li looked at the busy Chen He and said in disbelief, "Son, are you going to be independent?" Chen Kachin looked at his wife's devastated expression and immediately smiled. "It's a good thing that our son is independent. Why are you crying so hard?" Han Li sighed, "My son has changed so much that I can't accept it for a while." Chen Kachin nodded, agreeing with his wife's words. Chen He seemed like a different person, suddenly becoming sensible and mature. "Just accept it slowly. When he goes to college and leaves home, we will have to adapt to it too." Early the next morning, Chen He got up the earliest. He went to the kitchen to cook some millet porridge and bought a pound of fried dough sticks from outside. "Dad, Mom, breakfast is ready." Chen He invited his parents to eat. Han Li stood there in a daze. "Son, can you make breakfast?" Chen Kachin sat down and tasted the millet porridge. It was cooked and not unpalatable. He couldn't believe it either. "Don't you usually get up 10 minutes before school? Did the sun rise from the west today?" Chen He sat down, wrapped 2 eggs for his parents and said, "The college entrance examination is coming soon, I have to hurry up and study." The reason is simple. But Han Li and Chen Kachin were still stunned for a while. "Let's eat. Our son has grown up, and we should be happy." Han Li's eyes were a little moist. "Hey, let's eat, eat." Chen Kachin was happy and had a great appetite. He drank 3 bowls of millet porridge in a row. "This is cooked by my son and must be finished. Dad, Mom, I'm going to school." Chen He rode his bicycle out of the community. Han Li, standing in front of the window, wiped the corners of her eyes. "If we were better, we could provide our son with a better living and learning environment." Chen Kachin put his arm around Han Li's shoulders and sighed. "It's enough that our son knows how to be filial to us." "Has he said which university he wants to apply to?" Han Li thought about it. "It seems to be Jiangcheng University." Chen Kachin's mouth twitched. "That's a book." Han Li didn't say anything either. "My son knows it himself. It is difficult for him to get into a 3rd-tier university with that score. The 1st-tier score in Jiangcheng is 600 points. It is too unrealistic for someone who normally struggles to get 350 points." Chen Kachin comforted him, "It's a good thing that our son has a goal. We just need to support him unconditionally." After a while, Han Li nodded, a smile reappearing on her face. "I know my son, he will definitely be able to pass a 3rd-tier university." In the end, she lost her confidence and she didn't believe that Chen He could reach the 1st-tier score line in just 1 month. This is not a question of whether it is difficult or not. It's the difference between reality and magic. At the gate of General Gao of Sanhe. As soon as Chen He got off his bicycle, he heard Feng Yiman's surprised voice behind him. "Thank you, Jiang Han, for the birthday present you gave me. I really like it." Chen He didn't look back and walked straight into the school. Only then did he remember that today seemed to be Feng Yiman's birthday. In the past, at this time every year, he would find ways to celebrate for Feng Yiman. But not this year. "Chen He, stop." Feng Yiman called Chen He. Chapter 5. I am willing to help him with his studies. Chen He heard it, but pretended not to hear it and continued walking forward. "Chen He, I was wrong yesterday. I shouldn't have called you childish. Where's my birthday present?" Feng Yiman trotted up from behind, stopped in front of Chen He, and stretched out her slender hand. Because he was running so fast, his chest was heaving, and he had a gentle posture, which was really attractive. But Chen He is no longer the bootlicker he used to be. "Why should I give you a gift?" Chen He gave Feng Yiman an expressionless look, then walked around her and left like a stranger. Feng Yiman stood there in a daze, not knowing what to do. At this time, Jiang Han, my deskmate and best friend, came over and pointed angrily at Chen He's back as he pushed the cart. Man, how could he do this? He knew it was your birthday today, but he still deliberately made you angry. I think he has changed his mind." But except Feng Yiman, who in Sanhe High School can compare with Feng Yiman in terms of appearance and figure. Feng Yiman's face turned pale, and she forced a nonchalant smile. "He is so naive, thinking that this will make me cherish him. Don't worry, after a long time, he will definitely show concern for me." The entire 3 Rivers High School. In terms of appearance and figure, how many people can compete with me? Man, you are really smart. This trick of using stillness to control movement is really great. You have such a great appearance and figure, Chen He will definitely not give up. Only a fool would give up. Feng Yiman smiled proudly and noticed the attention of many male classmates. She walked forward with confident steps. The first class in the morning is Zhang Rou's class. Zhang Rou patted the table lightly, and the whole class looked up at her. Attention, since there is still a month before the college entrance examination, we are short on time and have a heavy task, so starting from today, we will have a mock exam during lunch break. It's over. Without a lunch break, I will definitely take a nap in class. I was planning to go shopping at the supermarket during my lunch break, but now that plan has gone to waste. The students in the back row complained bitterly. They had no interest in studying to begin with, and without lunch break, they had less fun. This naturally includes sleeping. Zheng Xiaobing's face was full of protest, but he didn't dare to speak out loud. Chen He, let's go and report this to the principal. This is depriving students of their freedom. Chen He rolled his eyes at Zheng Xiaobing and said, you haven't fulfilled your duties and responsibilities as a student. What qualifications do you have to protest? Zheng Xiaobing felt guilty and chuckled, really? Then I won't protest. Using lunch break to do mock exams may take up time for other classes later, such as physical education. Chen He could understand Zhang Rou's approach. Zhang Rou obviously didn't care about the protest. She patted the table again, and the classroom suddenly became quiet. Let me announce the list of candidates for the mock exam. Zhang Ziqing, Xu Zijiao, Zhang Changhe. Those who were called were all key students in the class. When Feng Xia's name was called, he looked back at the back row with regret. I also planned to help Chen He with his tutoring during the lunch break. When Feng Yiman's name was called, a look of satisfaction and pride appeared on her face. Man, I really envy you. I also want to get the attention of the class teacher. Jiang Kan said enviously. Zhang Rou's mock exam candidate list was naturally unfair. It only included top students and not a single poor student. Other schools and key classes have already been using this method. Zhang Rou only regretted that she knew it too late. Top students like Feng Xia and Feng Yiman must ensure that they maintain their good form until the college entrance examination. Zheng Xiaobing didn't hear his name, and he was relieved. Why don't we go to the internet cafe to play a few games during lunch break? Chen He ignored Zheng Xiaobing and raised his hand. Teacher, I also want to take the mock exam. Why are you taking the mock exam? With your current grades, you can hardly even pass the third-tier exam. Zhang Rou mocked mercilessly. Now that I know how to work hard, is it too late? After listening to Zhang Rou's words, Chen He did not feel the slightest bit dissatisfied and lowered his head silently. Being late, surfing the internet, and sleeping in class. These are undoubtedly the performance of poor students. Zhang Rou's heart had already been broken. It is understandable that you have no hope for yourself. Zhang Rou saw Chen He lowering his head, and she felt sorry for him again. Chen He, if you want to take the mock exam, you have to have the ability to do it. It's not that I don't want you to take it, but the questions in the mock exam are too difficult, which will only undermine your confidence. The questions in the mock exams are already very close to the difficulty of the college entrance examination. Zhang Rou would even copy the college entrance examination questions from previous years for the students to do. Chen He raised his head, a look of determination flashing in his eyes. I can ask my classmates to help me with my studies. Zhang Rou couldn't help laughing. The classmates also burst into laughter. Chen He, you think too highly of yourself. Zhang Rou pressed her hands and the classroom became quiet again. Chen He, everyone is pressed for time now. Ask who is willing to tutor you. If someone is willing to step forward, I will agree to let you take the mock exam. The students tried hard to hold back their laughter. After all, no one was stupid enough to waste time on a poor student. Teacher, I am willing to help Chen He with his studies. At this moment, a weak voice sounded, right under Zhang Rou's nose. Zhang Rou looked at Feng Xia in disbelief. The classmates were also very surprised. The math class representative wanted to help Chen He? Don't be so pessimistic. Think of this as charity. Some people even maliciously thought that Chen He might have threatened Feng Xia in private. After all, Feng Xia was so kind and honest. Zhang Rou immediately frowned. No, you are the top student in our class and have the best chance of getting into Tsinghua, Peking University, Fudan University or Nankai University. Just kidding, this is like putting a gem next to a lump. Feng Yiman said weakly. Student Chen He has worked very hard these past 2 days and even asked me for class notes. I don't think the teacher should reject his kindness. No, only you can't do it. Chen He, if you want tutoring, you can find someone else. Zhang Rou insisted. Feng Yiman clenched her hands tightly at this time, thinking that Chen He would not choose her. Don't do that. You still have several big math problems that need to be practiced repeatedly. Teacher, you are making things difficult for me. Who should I replace? Chen He said helplessly. Zhang Rou was speechless for a moment. Teacher, I promise it won't affect my grades. Feng Yiman raised his hand and said firmly. Zhang Rou said helplessly, okay, just 2 days. If Chen He's grades don't improve in 2 days, just follow the original plan. Feng Yiman smiled happily, as this gave her another chance to be alone with Chen He. Chen He thanked Zhang Rou and, of course, also Feng Yiman. At lunchtime, Chen He bought Feng Yiman cream ice cream to thank her for helping him. Feng Yiman declined at first, but finally accepted it happily. Student Chen He, how did he know that I like cream-flavored ice cream? Do you think my thinking is correct on this question? That's not the case. Your thinking is wrong. You should do this first. When Feng Yiman saw this scene, she felt very jealous. Chen He didn't take advantage of the good opportunity to get close to her. Zhang Rou came in holding a stack of test papers. It's time for the mock exam, everyone else please keep quiet. Chapter 6 I am because of you. The lunch break is 1 hour, just enough time to finish a test paper. Zhang Rou asked the monitor, the man with glasses, to collect the papers from the back to the front, and said to everyone, study in the next class, and fill in your college entrance examination application. In the early 2000s, college entrance examination applications had to be filled out in advance. It was not until the year Chen He graduated from university that this practice was explicitly prohibited by the higher authorities. Half an hour later, Zhang Rou brought the college entrance examination application form and asked the class monitor to distribute it. Chen He chose Zheng He University without hesitation. Zheng Xiaobing was not in the mood and just wrote 3 randomly. He didn't even bother to look at the names. He turned his head to see if Chen He was the same as him, and his eyes widened. You 3 are all from Zheng He University. Chen He did not comment. What if you fail the exam? You will have to repeat the year, right? Zheng Xiaobing thought to himself. Forget it. If you want to repeat the year, I will accompany you for a year. Chen He smiled and patted Zheng Xiaobing on the head. You're a pessimist, aren't you? Can't you just hope for something good? Zhang Rou checked everyone's college entrance examination application forms, and when she saw Chen He's, her eyes stopped. All 3 choices are Jiangcheng University. The passing score for Jiangcheng University last year was 610. According to the rule, if the questions are difficult this year, they will be easy next year, and vice versa. The questions in this year's college entrance examination are relatively difficult. The score line is likely to drop to 600. Chen He, can you be a little more self-aware? With your grades, it would be great if you could get into a 3rd-tier university. How can you still want to get into Jiangcheng University? Zhang Rou shook her head and sneered mercilessly. The whole class laughed. Chen He stood up from his seat, his eyes determined. The college entrance examination is in a month. Teacher, why are you so sure that I won't pass it? I will definitely be admitted to Jiangcheng University. Zhang Rou was stunned. She didn't expect that this boy looked so elegant even when he was serious. He was really brave. That's what you said. I said so. If you can pass the exam and the TV station comes to interview you, I will apologize to you in person. It's settled then. As a key high school, Sanhe High School attracts local TV station reporters to interview it every year during the college entrance examination. Their head teachers of classes with high admission rates will get the opportunity to appear on camera. Zhang Rou was so angry that she laughed. She hoped to see Chen He turn over a new leaf and work hard to become a better person. There is no teacher who doesn't want his students to work hard to become excellent. If this day really comes, Zhang Rou will fulfill her promise. During the break, Chen He came to Feng Yiman to tutor him on math problems. Feng Yiman suddenly asked, Student Chen He, did you really write Jiangcheng University for all 3 of your choices? In fact, everyone knew about this matter. She just wanted to find an excuse to chat with Chen He. That's true. Chen He didn't even raise his head as he wrote and calculated on the exercises. Student Feng Xia, you must have filled in Tsinghua University, Peking University, Nankai University, and Fudan University. With your grades, you can choose any of these for schools. Chen He's description of taking entrance exams to Peking University and Tsinghua University, the top universities in the country, was just like picking and choosing vegetables casually, which made Feng Xia laugh. No way, I also filled out Jiangcheng University, and there were also 3. Feng Xia's face turned red to the neck, and her voice became very low when she said the last sentence. R. Chen He was very surprised. Sure, don't make a fuss. Feng Xia quickly put on a pleading look. Just because of this matter, Zhang Rou called her to the office. Chen He quickly calmed down and suddenly realized, Student Feng Xia, you are here because you have relatives near Jiangcheng University, right? Oh, when I was a kid, I really wanted to have relatives near my school. Then after school, I could go directly to my relatives' homes. How convenient that would be. Feng Xia didn't say anything. Chen He asked in confusion, isn't it? Oh, I see. It was your parents who asked you to take the entrance exam for Jiangcheng University. Your parents shouldn't be unaware of your grades. He didn't think much about it. It couldn't be that Feng Xia did that because of him. Feng Xia's family is well off and has favorable conditions. My family is average and we are not a good match. How could someone be interested in me? Chen He is very self-aware of this point. It seems that apart from being a little handsome, he has no other advantages. Feng Xia lowered her head. She didn't know how to explain it. She couldn't just give an answer. Sudden. Chen He said angrily, I know. Your parents must have forced you to do this because they found a rich second-generation man who is a good match for you and will marry you after you graduate from college. This is how your families will form a political alliance. This is abominable. This is called an arranged marriage. No, I have to go talk to your parents. Feng Xia waved her hands anxiously, tears welling up in her eyes. No, there is no such thing, please stop talking, it's really not what you think. When the class bell rang, Chen He said worriedly, Student Feng Xia, don't be afraid. I will help you. Thank you, Chen He. Class is about to start. Please go back to your seat. Feng Xia lowered her head, and was very flustered by Chen He's strong concern, and her face was burning. Zhang Rou pushed the door open and glared at Chen He, class has started, go back to your seat. Chen He had no choice but to leave. Passing by Feng Yiman, the former raised his head with an indifferent attitude. I just heard Chen He care about Feng Xia. Feng Yiman was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. She believed that Chen He did it on purpose, deliberately approaching other girls to try to make her jealous. I just don't want to. This class was a self-study class. Chen He was doing math problems. As he communicated with Feng Xia, he found that math was really a very interesting subject. As long as he has mastered some problem-solving ideas, he can now fluently solve those questions that he had no idea how to solve before. Having experienced the fun, Chen He plunged into the ocean of exercises. Zheng Xiaobing was sleeping on the table. For him, any class was a hypnosis class. Little did he know that Zhang Rou was walking over. Zhang Rou grabbed Zheng Xiaobing's ear, and Zheng Xiaobing woke up with a start. He lay prone on the desk and said, there's a bomb. Their whole class burst into laughter. Zhang Rou said sternly, Zheng Xiaobing, go to the corridor and reflect on your actions. Zheng Xiaobing said nothing, without blushing or getting nervous, and walked out of the classroom to stand in the corner as a punishment. The bell rang for the end of get out of class. I told the PE teacher that the next class will be a self-study session, so everyone can review freely. There were complaints from the back row. You are allowed to go to the playground to read. Get out of class is dismissed. Zhang Rou picked up the teaching plan and left. The classroom was filled with cheers, which meant that the boys could take the opportunity to play ball and go outside to get some fresh air. The boys were like wild horses that had broken free from their reins, going to the playground in groups of 3 or 5 in advance. The girls also got together in groups of 2 or 3, taking their books to the playground to memorize English words. Chen He smiled slightly. This is youth. After many years, the classroom will always be the place where dreams begin. Chen He stood up and walked to the first row. Jiang Han was standing in the aisle, waiting for Feng Yiman to pack her things, when he saw Chen He approaching. Man, Chen He is here. He must be here to apologize to you. She poked Feng Yiman gently. Feng Yiman was stunned for a moment, then a smug smile spread across her face. See, I said he wouldn't be able to hold on for a few days, and he would definitely be the one to compromise in the end. In the next scene, Feng Yiman was speechless. Chapter 7 Chen He, you have changed your heart. Chen He walked straight to Feng Xia. Student Feng Xia, can you help me with my studies later? Okay, shall we stay in the classroom or go to the playground? Even if Chen He doesn't come, Feng Xia plans to take the initiative to find Chen He. She could intuitively feel Chen He's progress through his hard work over the past few days. Just in the classroom. I'm going to do some exercises. Chen He said. Okay, then I'll talk to my deskmate. Feng Xia turned her head and looked at a girl with 2 ponytails, Liu Yan, her deskmate. Student Liu Yan, I'm sorry, I can't go to the playground with you. Is that so? Okay, Chen He, I warn you, don't bully Feng Xia. If I find out, I will definitely not forgive you. Although Liu Yan felt disappointed, he still picked up his textbook and left the classroom. Student Chen He, please sit here. Feng Xia moved a seat inside. Chen He sat down. Feng Xia lowered her head, her little face slightly red. Man, has Chen He changed his mind? He should come to find you. Your math grades are not worse than Feng Xia's. Jiankan couldn't believe it. Feng Yiman bit her lip, she was ready to reject Chen He's words. Seeing that Chen He and Feng Xia had a good relationship, she felt jealous again. Feng Yiman stood up. Chen He, don't you have anything to say to me? Chen He turned his head with confusion in his eyes. No. You've gone too far. Feng Yiman was so angry that she was shaking all over. Although she thought Chen He was trying to make her angry on purpose, his cold face was really unbearable. I gave you a chance, but you didn't take it. Don't talk to me anymore. Feng Yiman left the classroom angrily after saying this. Jiankan immediately chased after him. Student Chen He, don't you want to go and take a look? Feng Xia asked in a low voice. What are you looking at? She and I have nothing to do with each other. Let's do the questions. Chen He said. Okay, then do the questions. A happy smile appeared on Feng Xia's lips. The other side. Feng Yiman folded her arms and walked briskly towards the playground. Jiankan had to run to catch up. Man, don't be angry over this kind of person. Chen He is nothing. Feng Yiman stopped and became angrier the more she thought about it, especially when she thought about how Chen He and Feng Xia often came into contact. Could it be that Chen He really had a change of heart? Do you think Chen He has a crush on Feng Xia? No way, how can Feng Xia compare to you? Isn't it just that her family has a little money? Maybe I'm overthinking it. Feng Yiman regained her confidence. In terms of appearance and figure, Feng Xia was no match for her. At this time, she found that many boys' eyes were focused on her. Feng Yiman took a confident step forward. Then I'll wait a little longer. Chen He just wants me to be jealous, but I don't want to. If he said openly that he had given up pursuing me, then I still look up to him. What does it mean now? It's unclear what's going on. You're playing tactics, right? Then I'll play along with you. Classmate, can I be your friend? A senior boy came over and started a conversation. Feng Yiman smoothed the hair behind her ears and shook her head politely. Sorry, senior, I don't plan on falling in love for the time being. Jiankan left proudly holding Feng Yiman's arm. Man, I really envy you. Feng Yiman found a shady place to sit down, took out her English book and started memoizing words. After a while, she felt thirsty. Man, please buy me a bottle of mineral water. He took out 5 yuan from his pocket and gave Jiankan 5 yuan for a bottle of Wahar mineral water, 1 bottle for each of them. The rest was Jiankan's running money. At the same time, there is another way to solve this problem, but the process is more complicated. Let me show you how I solve it. Feng Xia took a ballpoint pen and neatly wrote out formulas in his exercise book. Chen He noticed that Feng Xia's lips were a little dry. The weather was so hot that she must be dehydrated. I'm going outside to get some fresh air. Chen He left the classroom and went straight to the canteen. Feng Xia glanced at the classroom door. She had been feeling a little thirsty since a while ago, but was too embarrassed to tell Chen He. Forget it, I'll go buy a bottle of Waahar after class. Chen He arrived at the store first and bought a bottle of Waahar mineral water and a new notebook. Chen He, aren't you in the classroom? Jiang Kan asked in surprise. Can't I come out to buy some water? Chen He was too lazy to say more. Jiang Kan smiled and said, then hurry up and send it to Man Man. I'll go over there and watch some basketball. After saying that, he left on his own. Chen He looked puzzled, but he soon realized that Jiang Kan came to buy water for Feng Yiman. This guy must be mentally ill. Chen He curled his lips and left without any emotion in his heart. If it were in the past. When he heard that Feng Yiman was thirsty, he would definitely buy her drinks and ice cream to show his concern. It's nice to have a liquor. Chen He returned to the classroom and put a bottle of Waahar in front of Feng Xie. Feng Xie was stunned, but her face immediately turned red. Thank you. She unscrewed the lid, took a sip slowly like a lady, and felt sweet in her heart. How did he know I was thirsty? Feng Xie's eyes curved into crescents and she was in a particularly good mood. After watching the basketball game, Jiang Han returned to Feng Yiman. Hey! Man, where's your water? What water? Didn't I give you money and ask you to buy it? Huh? I ran into Chen He at the store. I thought he would buy it for you and apologize to you. Chen He has never been here. Feng Yiman stood up a little irritably. She thought Chen He did it on purpose. He knew it was hot in the playground and she would be thirsty, but he didn't even bother to buy her some water. Chen He has gone too far. Why doesn't he come to apologize to you? I'm so mad. Man, don't worry. I'll go get some water right away. Jiang Han turned around and was about to leave. No need, I'll go find Chen He. Feng Yiman walked towards the classroom with a cold face. Return to the classroom. Feng Yiman immediately asked, Chen He, why didn't you buy me some water? Chen He was frowning. What's yours is what you owe. Do you really think I'm a bootlicker? Does this require a reason? You. Feng Yiman's chest heaved with anger. Jiang Han pointed at Chen He and said, hurry up and apologize to Man. Maybe she will consider forgiving you. Otherwise, you will only get further and further away from her. Chen He stood up, picked up the mineral water on the table, unscrewed the cap and drank it all. I'm thirsty and bought a bottle of water, what does it have to do with you? Chen He put the empty bottle heavily on the table. Feng Xie shuddered, but her eyes were wide open and her face was red. That was what she had just drunk. Feng Xie lowered her head, her face burning and her heart pounding. It's your turn, Chen He, let's go. Feng Yiman turned around and left the classroom. Jiang Han glared at Chen He and chased after him, Man, I'll buy you ice cream. Chen He threw the empty water bottle into the trash can. Noticed that Feng Xie lowered his head. Student Feng Xie, are you feeling unwell? No, I haven't. Chen He touched his head and said, I'm sorry, I drank your water just now. I'll buy you another bottle. The faint sound of mosquitoes and flies was heard. Chapter 8 Seizing Happiness. Chen He walked out of the classroom and went straight to the canteen. Feng Yiman was so angry that all she could think about was Chen He's cold expression. She didn't even hear what Jiang Han said. Chen He's performance these days has been so disappointing. Did Chen He really change his mind? No. Chen He has been pursuing me for 3 years, how could he give up so easily? Man, please walk slower. I can't catch up with you. Jiang Han didn't dare to complain, she thought Feng Yiman must have been provoked by Chen He. Chen He must be playing tactics with me, right? Things have come to this. Feng Yiman's self-confidence was also somewhat shaken. In the past, Chen He would never dare to treat himself with that attitude. Jiang Han was just about to cheer up her best friend. Suddenly his eyes lit up and he pointed behind Feng Yiman, Man, look, that's Chen He. Feng Yiman turned around immediately, her face glowing with confidence again. What did I say? He will definitely not give up on me easily. Chen He came with me to apologize. Man, Chen He is here. Feng Yiman stared at Chen He with her beautiful eyes. She had already figured out how to reject Chen He. Feng Yiman's eyes were full of anticipation, and the scene of Chen He apologizing had already appeared in her mind. Chen He treated him like a stranger. He walked past Feng Yiman with an expressionless face. Feng Yiman's expression froze. Didn't Chen He come out of the classroom to apologize? Why did he just ignore me and leave? It's hard to believe that Chen He would be so cold. Man, what's wrong with Chen He? Jiang Han was also very surprised. Chen He's performance exceeded their expectations. Chen He, stop right there. Feng Yiman shouted angrily. Chen He acted as if he didn't hear it and walked straight to the store. Chen He, I told you to stop right there. Feng Yiman raised her voice and shouted in a commanding tone. However, Chen He was not moved at all. Feng Yiman suddenly had a feeling that Chen He might not be joking with her. You'll regret this. Feng Yiman raised her chin with pride and walked towards the playground, but she always felt empty in her heart. Chen He bought another bottle of Waahar from the canteen. He used to be afraid to even speak loudly to Feng Yiman. Treat Feng Yiman like a baby and take good care of her. But what I got in return for 3 years was being played around like a monkey. And now? I haven't looked at Feng Yiman straight in the eye for 2 days. Feng Yiman came to the playground, still angry about Chen He's attitude just now, her chest heaving violently. Jiang Han followed carefully, afraid of saying something wrong and upsetting his deskmate. Feng Yiman has attracted a lot of attention from senior students. Some people also came up to chat with me. But Feng Yiman politely rejected them all. She only likes the feeling of being sought after and being the center of attention. Chen He, you will definitely regret your actions today. Feng Yiman said secretly in her heart. Seeing Feng Yiman's mood improve, Jiang Han scolded, Chen He is too much, he will definitely regret it. He just wants to save face and suffer. Just watch, he must be begging for my forgiveness in his heart. Feng Yiman said confidently. Man, are you still going to forgive Chen He? Jiang Han was stunned for a moment. She couldn't quite figure out this best friend of hers. That depends on his performance. Feng Yiman had a confident smile on her face. She always felt that Chen He did this just to make her jealous. The third class is over. Feng Xie could not see things clearly. He shook his head slightly and there seemed to be a piece of black cloth in front of his eyes. Feng Xie, are you okay? Do you want to go to the infirmary? No, I'm fine. Liu Yang, his deskmate, just noticed that something was wrong with Feng Xie, but didn't think much about it. Chen He came over with a math problem book and noticed Feng Xie's abnormality at a glance. Student Feng Xie, are you suffering from heat stroke? Chen He asked with a frown on his face. The more he looked at Feng Xie, the more it looked like he had symptoms of heat stroke. Feng Xie, hurry up and get up, why didn't you tell me earlier? Liu Yang stood up hurriedly. I'm fine. I might be too tired from studying. Just let me rest for a while. Feng Xie forced a smile on his pale face. She really thought so. Chen He could tell Feng Xie's voice was very weak and recalled how Feng Xie's lips had been cracked before. This girl must have had heat stroke a long time ago. I have persisted until now. It's all for tutoring myself. Feng Xie, I'll take you to the infirmary now. Thank you, classmate Chen He. I'm really fine. As soon as the words fell, Chen He suddenly hugged Feng Xie around the waist and said, let me take Feng Xie to the infirmary. Okay. I'll go too. Liu Yang was stunned, but he didn't want to hug anyone. Chen He rushed out of the classroom holding Feng Xie and headed straight for the infirmary. He didn't care even if it attracted the surprised looks of his classmates in the corridor. What happened? He is holding a beautiful schoolgirl. Feng Xie's brain was still in a state of shutdown at this time. You can hear Chen He's heartbeat at a close distance. I must be dreaming. Feeling Chen He's breath, she finally regained consciousness and struggled in panic, put me down. From childhood to adulthood, except for her brother, she has never had such close contact with other opposite sex. Even if it's Chen He, she can't calm down now. Chen He won't think I'm too heavy, right? But I eat nutritious meals for all 3 meals. There is absolutely no extra fat on the body. Put me down quickly, please, classmate Chen He, put me down quickly. Feng Xie begged, her face was as red as an apple. Don't move, I'm going down the stairs, or we'll both fall. Chen He said helplessly. Feng Xie then stopped struggling and lay obediently in Chen He's arms. It's okay, we'll be in the infirmary soon. Feng Xia nodded slightly. Hearing Chen He's words, she felt relieved and her panicked and nervous heart calmed down. The other side. Feng Yiman stared blankly at the classroom door. It's very hard to accept. Chen He was actually hugging and kissing a member of the opposite sex in front of him. How dare he? Jiang Han was furious and felt sorry for Feng Yiman. He said angrily, Man, you should have seen through Chen He earlier. He has no regard for your feelings at all. How can he flirt with other girls? Feng Yiman was so angry that her breathing became rapid and her eyes looked murderous. He is deliberately trying to piss me off. I can't be angry. If I get angry, I'll lose. I need to stay calm. But how could she stay calm about something like this? All I could think about was Chen He's anxious look at Feng Xia. Right at this moment, Feng Yiman suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of crisis. Could it be that Chen He really fell in love with Feng Xia? That's impossible. I am the white moonlight in his mind. Feng Yiman was lost in thought. She suddenly lay down on the table and sobbed. She didn't know why she was crying, but she just felt sad. Man, don't be angry. Being angry is bad for your health. When Chen He comes back, I will definitely help you teach him a lesson. Chapter 9 Feng Xia gives QQ number. Fortunately, Feng Xia only suffered from mild heat stroke. She was discovered and treated in time and recovered after a short rest. Classmate, you are so kind and brave. There are not many boys like you. The doctor in the infirmary praised. Chen He touched his head embarrassedly, exchanged a few words with the doctor, and went back to the classroom. Feng Xia was lying on the hospital bed, feeling as if she had just had a dream. If this is a dream, she hoped she could do it longer before waking up. Classmate, you can go back after resting for half an hour. The boy just now is a good guy. The doctor in the infirmary said this and left. The sun shone through the window onto the bed, and a breeze caused the white curtains to dance lightly. Feng Xia stretched out her pale arms toward the window. The sunlight shines through my fingers, and my palms are warm. A gentle squeeze. It seemed as if their whole summer was captured. Feng Xia closed her eyes, immersed in a happy dream. Chen He returned to the classroom. Their head teacher Zhang Rou was standing on the podium, obviously knowing that Feng Xia had suffered from heat stroke. Chen He, how is Feng Xia? Zhang Rou asked. The doctor said that she would be fine after a rest. She overused her brain and was a little dehydrated, which is why she got heat stroke. Chen He gave a brief account of Feng Xia's situation. Go back to your seat. Zhang Rou felt relieved. Feng Xia was the hope of this class. Putting this aside, as their class teacher, she didn't want any student in the class to be in danger. Feng Yiman sat upright, her eyes a little red from crying. She thought Chen He would notice her and feel guilty. However, Chen He looked straight ahead, without looking at anyone, and went straight back to his seat. Feng Yiman was stunned. It is hard to accept Chen He's indifferent attitude. Jiang Han whispered, Man, Chen He is too much. You cried for him, but he didn't show any reaction at all. Feng Yiman pretended to be calm, but in fact she was beginning to waver inside. He just deliberately pissed me off by interacting with other girls to make me jealous. But when I look at him, he doesn't look fake at all. No, he has been pursuing me for 3 years. It is impossible for him to give up at this time. Feng Yiman was still certain that Chen He was just trying to anger her. In terms of appearance, figure, and academic performance, she is as good as Feng Xia. This is confidence. Only then did Jiang Han feel relieved. Man, you are smart. You saw through Chen He's tricks at a glance, but he really went too far. It's okay. I've thought it through. I have to change a little bit, otherwise he will go down this stupid path forever. Feng Yiman seemed to see through Chen He's heart. Jiang Han admired and said, Man, why do I feel that Chen He will never be able to escape from your control in this life? Zheng Xiaobing looked admiring and gave a thumbs up. Brother Chen, you are this. Chen He took out his English exercises and ignored Zheng Xiaobing. Zheng Xiaobing suddenly asked in a mean tone. You hugged Feng Xia, are you trying to take advantage of her? If you keep talking nonsense, I'll tear your mouth apart. Chen He turned his head and gave Zheng Xiaobing a murderous look. I'm talking nonsense. Our brother Chen is a hero, he is eager to help female classmates. Zheng Xiaobing said in a mean way. Chen He picked up the ballpoint pen and started doing the questions. It is very common for students to suffer from heat stroke in the summer. Zheng Xiaobing suddenly leaned closer and said, I think Feng Xie is better than Feng Yiman. He is the representative of the math class, his family is well off, and his family drives to pick him up after school every day. Have you ever thought about becoming a rich son-in-law? Chen He raised his hand and pushed Zheng Xiaobing away. If you keep talking nonsense, do you want to end our friendship? Okay, I won't say anything more. I'm going to sleep now, okay? What Zheng Xiaobing said actually makes sense. But Chen He was reborn and returned. Haven't he thought that far yet? Feng Xie's family is indeed wealthy, and I am just a poor boy now, so it is impossible for others to look down on me. Right now you should prepare seriously for the college entrance examination. Chen He did wonder if Feng Xie secretly liked him. But the possibility of this happening in reality is very small. The poor boy still has some self-awareness. Feng Xie was the last one to return to the classroom for class. She looked towards the back row from time to time. Every time his eyes would focus on someone in the back row, and then Feng Xie's eyes would be filled with light. Feng Yiman saw this scene. She clenched the exercise paper tightly and then slowly released it. Feng Xie is indeed interested in Chen He. Class is over, students. Day students, please go home and be safe. Zhang Rou said this and walked out of the classroom. Chen He was on duty today. He went to the garage after finishing his work, but he was stunned. In front of the garage, a delicate figure, as if waiting for someone. Chen He walked over with a smile. Student Feng Xie? Are you waiting for someone? When Feng Xie saw Chen He, a smile as beautiful as a flower immediately appeared on her face. Thank you for this afternoon. Feng Xie lowered her head, her face flushed, and she didn't dare to look at Chen He. You're welcome. Besides, you helped me catch up on a lot of missed knowledge. Chen He didn't take it to heart at all. Feng Xie suddenly handed over a note. Chen He took it curiously, wondering if it was a love letter. It says, 3414. Is this your QQ number? Feng Xie still lowered his head. Student Chen He, this is my QQ number, we can add each other as friends, I'm leaving first. Feng Xie trotted out of the school gate, then got into the back seat of a black Audi, and the car drove away. Chen He lowered his head and looked at the QQ number in his hand for a long time. When girls take the initiative to give boys gifts or exchange contact information, it is a sign that they like each other. Chen He was stunned for a moment. Does Feng Xie really like me? But in his previous life, he had no contact with Feng Xie at all. Maybe all his attention was on Feng Yiman. Later I heard that Feng Xie married a senior executive of the family company. If you say so. Feng Xie's marriage was obviously unhappy. Chen He was shocked to find that after his rebirth, some things had deviated from his memory. Is this the butterfly effect? It is possible that because of one's rebirth, one can change the life trajectory of some people and even the direction of events. Chen He suddenly had two choices. Chen He smiled calmly and decided to live his life again and be more free from worries. Feng Xie, why didn't I find you earlier? Guangming Community. Chen He returned home and Han Li came out of the kitchen. Your class filled out the college entrance examination application form today, right? Let me see what you filled out. Chen He felt guilty. Dad hasn't come back yet. Mom, please cook first, I'm hungry. Chen He walked towards his bedroom. Just then, the bathroom door opened and Chen Kachin and Chen He looked at each other. Helpless, Chen He had to tell the truth. Are you crazy? You chose Jiangcheng University for all three of your choices. Han Li reacted violently. It's hard to accept Chen He's decision. Fortunately, Chen Kachin stopped him and Chen He hid in the bedroom. At the same time, he secretly made up his mind that he must win Jiangcheng University. Why are you stopping me? Han Li looked dissatisfied. Chen Kachin raised his hands. I'm just afraid that you will act impulsively. Chapter 10 The Meaning of Rebirth. You've seen how hard our son has been working lately. Lao Chen's words worked. Han Li slowly calmed down. Thinking back to how hard Chen He had been working these days, she began to waver. Chen Kachin comforted him. It seems that our son is determined to get into Jiangcheng University. We can't do anything about it, so don't put pressure on him. Han Li was stunned, feeling sorry for her son, and whispered, is Jiangcheng University a first-tier university? Of course. Let's not put too much pressure on our son. At worst, he can just repeat a year. I can afford to support my son. After Han Li finished speaking, she returned to the kitchen. Chen Kachin was speechless. Who was it that was so excited that he wanted to fight with his son just now? Son, come on, all your parents can do is to let you take the exam without any pressure. Chen He was sitting at the desk at this time, staring at the note in his hand in a daze. The walls are covered with Jay Cho's posters. A guitar was placed on the bed, the fan was humming, and cicadas were chirping outside the window, but nothing could make the boy's heart waver. I don't even have a mobile phone, how can I add QQ? In this era, mobile phones have not yet been widely popularized, and only a few people have them. First I'll study, then I'll make money. I don't want to have any regrets in my life. I neglected my studies in my previous life. I didn't make any money and lived my short life in a daze. Regrets could fill a piggy bank. Chen He opened the drawer, threw the note in, and closed the drawer. He opened the drawer again, picked up the note, memoized it silently, and then put it back into the drawer carefully. Chen He took out his math problems and tried to solve 10 of them before dinner. At the same time, in a spacious, luxuriously decorated room filled with white furniture, Feng Yiman was lying on the bed, fiddling with the latest generation of Motorola V3. The page you logged into is the QQ page. Several hours passed. QQ has always been in silent mode. She began to have wild thoughts. Could it be that classmate Chen He threw away his note? Like that. I will probably give up. No. He might be eating. Feng Yiman suddenly became stunned, as if she realized something. Oh, I forgot. He doesn't have a cell phone. I was so confused. She covered her face and rolled over on the bed, wishing she could find a hole to crawl into. How about giving Chen He a cell phone? Think about it. I gave up the idea. Oh my, how could I make such a stupid mistake, woo. He buried his head in the quilt. Dad, Mom, I'm going to school. Chen He said goodbye to his parents and rode his mountain bike to school. I want 3 steamed buns, a cup of soy milk, and 2 eggs. Chen He bought breakfast. Walk into the classroom. Feng Yiman and Jiang Han came over. Jiang Han smiled, Man, you guessed it right. Chen He bought you breakfast. I think he wanted to apologize to you. Feng Yiman raised the corners of her mouth, cleared her throat and said, Of course, I said he couldn't resist my charm. He raised his chest, ready to accept Chen his breakfast. Just at this moment, Feng Yiman's voice came from behind Chen He, Good morning, classmate Chen He. Chen He waited for Feng Yiman to come to his side, then stuffed the breakfast into Feng Yiman's hands. This is for you. Chen He didn't give Feng Yiman time to react and strode into the classroom. Feng Yiman froze in place. It felt like there were nails on my feet and I couldn't move a step. It's hard to accept that Chen He actually gave breakfast to Feng Yiman. I didn't eat this morning. Feng Yiman was so angry that she was shaking all over and gritting her teeth. Jiang Han couldn't bear it. Man, Chen He must have done it on purpose, he's going too far. Feng Yiman was so angry that her stomach hurt. She turned around angrily and said, I'll buy breakfast myself. Wait for me, man. Jiang Han quickened his pace to catch up. Feng Yiman sat down, still unable to believe that Chen He actually bought her breakfast. Her face instantly turned red all the way to her neck. I picked up the soy milk and took a sip, and couldn't help laughing. My deskmate Liu Yarn asked curiously, Xiaoxia, what are you laughing at? Feng Yiman said happily, soy milk is so sweet and delicious. The first class is self-study. Zhang Rou walked into the classroom holding the test paper. Now for the impromptu test. The time is up until the end of get out of class. This test will be counted towards the overall assessment, so please take it seriously. Zheng Xiaobing complained, another exam. A big exam every 7 days, a small exam every 3 days, and even exams during self-study classes. When will it end? Chen He was too lazy to pay attention to Zheng Xiaobing's complaints. There is only 1 month left until the college entrance examination. This is the case for almost every senior high school class. In order to ensure that students maintain a good state for exams, this approach by the class teacher is very effective. In short, in one sentence, practice makes perfect. I want to praise Chen He this time. In just 2 days, his progress has been amazing. Zhang Rou looked at Chen He's test score with an expression of disbelief. Chen He scored 129 out of 150 in the English test. It's hard to imagine that Chen He was once the last in the class. In just a few days, the progress is more than just great, it's like riding a rocket and soaring up. Others make progress by walking. Chen He, on the other hand, flew on a rocket. Zhang Rou was shocked. At this rate, there was still hope for Chen He to be admitted to Jiangcheng University. Thinking of this, Zhang Rou became a little more kind towards Chen He. Student Chen He, keep up the good work. If you have any difficulties, you can come to me directly. Remember, the teacher will always support you. Chen He felt warm in his heart. He had hurt his parents and teachers in his previous life, but he would not do that again in this life. He could feel Zhang Ru's concern. Chen He stood up, thank you teacher, and thank you classmates who helped me. Zhang Rou asked Chen He to sit down. She had to return to the office immediately to tell her colleagues about her teaching achievements. During break, Chen He and Feng Xia were discussing exercises. A shy girl walked up to Feng Yiman and asked, can you help me solve this physics problem? Feng Yiman gave an apologetic smile. Excuse me, Shu, I feel sick and need to go to the bathroom. Please find someone else. Shu stepped aside in disappointment and said, oh. Feng Yiman and Jiang Han walked past her and left the classroom. She was introverted and shy, had no friends in class, and because she wore shabby clothes, neither boys nor girls wanted to talk to her. She had seen Feng Yiman helping Jiang Han solve a problem, so she plucked up the courage to come over. Shu, come here and let me help you solve it. Feng Xia showed kindness. Shu was happy, but too embarrassed to move forward. Chen He stood up and gave up his seat. You sit down, I'm going back. Thank you. Only then did Shu sit down carefully. Chen He inadvertently glanced at Shu. Suddenly, he fell into a trance. My head felt like it was being torn apart, and a memory came to my mind. Shu disappeared before the college entrance examination. It was not until a month later that the police found her dried bones in a ravine. 10 days later, the murderer was arrested. He was a gangster from the same village. On the day of the college entrance examination, they stopped Shu and tried to rob her of her money. When she refused, they dragged her to the mountain and beat her. After taking her money, they threw her body into the ravine to prevent her from being exposed. His eyes were bloodshot. His whole body was trembling slightly. He finally understood the meaning of his rebirth. Perhaps, he could really change the fate of some people. Calm down. Shu, is your family in financial difficulty? Chen He asked softly with clear eyes. Chapter 11 Feng Xia, Xiaoxia. His straightforward words made Shu lower his head in inferiority. Student Chen He, why are you bringing this up? Feng Xia was worried that these words would hurt Shu's self-esteem, and looked at Chen He with some resentment. Everyone can see that Shu's family lives in difficult conditions. Shu is at a psychologically sensitive age. What if I make someone cry? Chen He has lived 2 lives as a human being, so of course he knows all this. But he and Shu had no intersection at all. In my previous life, I had never paid attention to this girl with a pure and clean appearance. He could have asked more tactfully. But if Shu didn't say it because of inferiority complex, then he had no choice but to consider everything comprehensively and carefully. Shu, I don't mean anything else. I don't look down on you. To be honest, my family situation is only slightly better than yours. If you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. Chen He spoke in a gentle tone. Only then did Feng Xia realize that she had misunderstood Chen He, and she lowered her head in embarrassment. It turned out that he was thinking about his classmates. I actually blame him. You have to apologize after school. Shu pursed her lips and didn't want to say anything. She could feel His sincerity. Don't look down on yourself like others do. My parents work away from home all year round, and there are only me and my grandmother at home. They only come home during the Chinese New Year. My grandmother has bad legs and feet, and she has diabetes, so she needs to take a lot of medicine. Feng Xia was silent and looked at this classmate with sympathy. Only then did Chen He know about Shu's family situation. So you usually live frugally and don't even live in the school dormitory. Chen He said. The accommodation fee is too expensive. Xu Xiu whispered. My grandma can't leave me either. Feng Xie then gently held Xu Xiu's hand and said, if you have any difficulties, just tell us. As classmates, we will do our best to help you. Feng Xie is right. Chen He smiled kindly. Xu Xiu then raised her head and saw the sincerity in the eyes of Chen He and the other man. Her nose felt sore. This is the first time in my 3 years of high school that I have felt the care and kindness from my classmates. Thank you, you two are so nice. After saying this, Xu Xiu walked towards his seat. Chen He fell into deep thought. Now that we know about Xu Xiu's family situation, the idea of avoiding tragedy by letting Xu Xiu live on campus can no longer be realized. It seems that we have to stop her from meeting the village hooligans on the day of the college entrance examination. Chen He immediately decided that he would pick up Xu Xiu on the day of the college entrance examination. Student Chen He, I'm sorry for what happened just now. I misunderstood you. Feng Xie blushed and said embarrassedly. What did you misunderstand about me? Chen He was full of questions. He really didn't know that he was misunderstood by Feng Xie. Anyway, don't leave after school. Feng Xie lowered her head and did not dare to look at Chen He. Just at this moment, the class bell rang. Chen He returned to his seat, still wondering what Feng Xie had misunderstood about him. Get out of class is over, students. Day students should go home and make sure not to study too late. Make sure to combine work and rest. I don't want to see you fall asleep in class. After giving the instructions, Zhang Rou took the lesson plan and left the classroom. Chen He, let's go to the internet cafe and kill some ass. Zheng Xiaobing stood up and said to Chen He. If you don't go, you should play fewer games. Chen He shook his head. He just saw Feng Xie hurriedly leave the classroom, but did not pack up his things. He must have something to say to him. Then I'll go. You go ahead. Chen He packed his school bag and waited for Feng Xie to come back. After a while, Feng Xie returned to the classroom. Chen He noticed that Feng Xie had an extra bottle of Coke in his hand. He didn't think much about it. He stood up and walked towards Feng Xie's seat. Feng Yiman had just finished packing her school bag and saw Chen He standing next to Feng Xie's desk. She walked over and patted Chen He on the back. Chen He, I didn't expect that you worked so hard to get into the same university as me. You deserve a reward. Feng Yiman said proudly. It seemed as if all the progress and achievements Chen He had made now were due to her. Jiang Kan nodded and said, Chen He, you should thank Man Man. If she hadn't encouraged you, you wouldn't have received praise from your class teacher. Chen He turned around with an expression on his face. My academic performance has improved because of my own hard work. It has nothing to do with you. Please stop being so narcissistic. Jiang Kan was furious. Chen He, how can you talk to Man Man like that? Feng Yiman's smile froze. She couldn't believe that Chen He would say such a thing. Is this still the Chen He who has been pursuing me for 3 years? He actually dared to say that he was narcissistic. How ridiculous. Feng Yiman was so angry that she was shaking all over. Chen He, don't push your luck. Chen He turned around and faced Feng Yiman. Feng Yiman gnashed her teeth in anger, her eyes burning with rage. Man Man, let's not talk to such an ungrateful person, let's go. Jiang Kan took Feng Yiman's arm and pulled her out of the classroom. Before leaving, Jiang Kan did not forget to give Chen He a look of contempt. Student Feng Xie, do you have something to say to me? The annoying flies went away, Chen He asked curiously. Feng Xie handed over a bottle of Coke, please take it. Consider it my apology. Chen He took the cold Coke, still confused. I unscrewed the cap of the Coke and with a pop, gas came out of the bottle. Chen He took a big sip, it tastes good, thank you. It seems that if you don't accept it, it will make Feng Xie very embarrassed. Feng Xie saw Chen He drinking Coke and a happy smile appeared on his face. Let's go. Come outside the classroom. Student Chen He, do you have a QQ number? I have one, but I don't log in often. Chen He only gave half of the reason. He doesn't have a cell phone. It is now 2005, and mobile phones have not yet become popular in the whole society. Feng Xie said, oh. I was thinking about how to keep in touch with Chen He after the college entrance examination. Chen He was thinking that after the college entrance examination, he would have to consider how to make money as soon as possible. At least by a mobile phone, it is convenient to make calls and log into QQ. See you tomorrow, classmate Chen He. See you tomorrow, Xia. Chen He waved and walked towards the carport. Feng Xia stood there in a daze, staring blankly at Chen He's back. He called me Xiao Xia. Wangming Community. Chen Kachin came home from get off work and wanted to go out as soon as he entered the house. Wife, I'm going to borrow a car. Xiaohe's uncle and aunt are coming over. Chen Kachin also has a younger brother named Chen Kajian. Living in a neighboring city, Chen Kachin knew in the morning that his younger brother and his family were coming. Then I'll go buy some food. Han Li came out of the kitchen, took off her apron and started changing her shoes. When Chen He returned to the community on his mountain bike, Chen Kachin was wiping a jetter with a rag. Chen He stopped his mountain bike and asked, Dad, did you buy a car? No, I borrowed this from a colleague. Chen Kachin stopped wiping the car and said with a smile on his face. By the way, your second uncle and his family are coming over, and your mother has gone out to buy groceries. Go home and check if there is anything unclean and clean it up, so that they won't laugh at you when they come. After giving the instructions, Chen Kachin entered the driver's seat, started the car and left. Chen He frowned. He didn't want to see his second uncle's family either. Chapter 12, Don't Argue with Fools. Memories of past lives came flooding back. He remembered that the real purpose of his second uncle's family's visit relatives was to show off. Chen Kajian's construction team took on a big order and earned more than 400,000 yuan. This is something that should make relatives happy and celebrate. But Chen Kajian's family has always looked down on their eldest brother Chen Kachin. Several Chinese New Years. Chen Kajian's daughter came home and didn't even call him uncle. If the upper beam is crooked, the lower beams will be crooked. What children are like will directly reflect the education given by their parents. Chen He had a spare key to their house. When he got home, he lay down on the sofa in the living room. Studying was already hard and tiring, and he didn't want to clean the house again. Besides, Chen Kajian and his family live in a 100 square meter house. Second aunt complained several times that her house was small and shabby. No matter how clean you clean it, it will not be acceptable to others. Of course, Han Li would keep every corner of the house spotless. Han Li returned home carrying a big bag of vegetables and fish. Seeing her lying on the sofa, she raised her eyebrows and said, Mop the floor. Your uncle and aunt will be here later. Chen He sat up from the sofa with a somersault. Okay, I'll mop the floor right away and make sure it's shiny and bright. Chen He dared not disobey his mother's orders. You're just talking nonsense. I'm going to the kitchen to cook. Han Li said and went into the kitchen. An hour later, Chen Kachin picked up Chen Kajian and his family. Brother, you've been working for so many years, but you haven't saved any money. You're actually driving a broken jetter. I've discussed it with your brother, and we're going to buy a Chevrolet after this busy period. Just walked in. Second Aunt Zhang Lan spoke in a hoarse voice. Brother, your sister-in-law is right. It's time to change your jetter. Chen Kachin looked embarrassed. I borrowed this car. His salary over more than 10 years combined was not enough to buy a Chevrolet. Zhang Lan's eyes widened. What? Brother, you don't even have your own car now. Oh, I don't know how you've been living these years. Look at what you said, maybe you have been planning to buy a car for a long time. Why don't you go to the car market with us in 2 days and pick out a Chevrolet? Chen Kajin thought to himself that with all this brother's wealth, he would probably have trouble buying even a wheel. I don't have any plans to buy a car for now. Xiaoli takes the bus to work, so I don't need a car. Chen Kachin explained awkwardly. Who doesn't want to have their own car? It's because I'm short of money. Zhang Lan curled her lips and said, who doesn't have a car now? If you can't afford a car, people will look down on you when you go out. I'm serious, brother, you really should buy a car and drive it. Chen Kachin smiled and said, let's talk about it later. There's no rush to buy a car. Chen He noticed that the sound of cutting vegetables in the kitchen paused for a second. Just at this moment, Chen Shui glanced at Chen He with disdain. The college entrance examination is coming soon. Are you still surfing the internet every day instead of studying? You are an adult now, you don't need me to tell you what to do. Chen He had a calm expression on his face and didn't seem angry at what Chen Shui said. He didn't intend to answer the question. Anyway, after the college entrance examination, the answer will be revealed. Dad, I'm going to help Mom in the kitchen. Chen He was about to walk towards the kitchen. When the elders came, it would be fine if he didn't say hello, but he didn't even make a glass of water. People who didn't know would think he was dumb. Zhang Lan said sarcastically. Whose son did you say was dumb? Say it again if you can. At this time, Han Li came out of the kitchen holding a kitchen knife. Zhang Lan was startled and immediately stopped talking. Xiao Li, put down the kitchen knife. Chen Kaqin quickly stood in front of Han Li. I was afraid that she would make a big mistake out of impulse. Mom, I'm not angry, don't be angry either. Chen He said. Han Li glanced at Chen He, her eyes full of guilt. She felt that as incompetent parents, they had caused their child to suffer. I'm telling you, Zhang Lan, if I hear you say something bad about my son again, I'll make sure you don't see the sun tomorrow. Xiao Li, this is serious, go cook. Chen Kaqin pushed Han Li back to the kitchen. Although Chen Kajin didn't say anything, he secretly kept this grudge in his heart. For dinner, there were meat and vegetarian dishes on the table, as well as a dumpling soup. Come on, everyone, cheers. Chen Kaqin raised his glass and Chen Kajin clinked glasses with him. The juice that Chen He drank. Chen He, shouldn't you, a junior, toast to your second uncle? Zhang Lan suddenly attacked. Chen He picked up a piece of fried lotus root with his chopsticks and put it into his mouth. In his previous life, he often stayed up late and worked overtime, which ruined his health. Chen Kaqin went to them to borrow money. Not only did he fail to borrow a penny, but Zhang Lan also called him a pauper and a jinx. My father raised money for his medical expenses. I would throw away my dignity and kneel down to them. However, what he got was insults and beatings from Chen Kajin. Family affection is still cold and thin. I have already given them face by not turning against them. Chen Kajin was angry when he saw that Chen He was unmoved. Xiao He, your second aunt is talking to you, didn't you hear her? Chen He picked up a piece of scrambled egg and put it into his mouth and chewed. I just heard the toad croaking. Did second aunt say anything just now? Phew. Han Li laughed out loud. Chen Kaqin glared at Chen He fiercely. Chen He shrugged and continued eating. Chen He, how can you talk like that? Zhang Lan was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. If she hadn't had a little bit of rationality left, she would have flipped the table. Chen He, apologize to your second aunt. Chen Kajin said with a dark face. Han Li slammed the table at this time. Children speak without restraint, you know. Why are you arguing with a child? After these words were spoken, Zhang Lan and Chen Kajin felt as if they had eaten a fly. They are elders. Chen He is a few decades younger than them. It's really embarrassing to haggle with a child. But the problem is, they are unhappy. Chen Shui suddenly taunted Chen He. Chen He can't even read well. Asking him to apologize is too much for him. Both Han Li and Chen Kaqin wanted to defend themselves. But his son's academic performance has always been at the bottom of the class. They wanted to refute, but they didn't have the confidence. Daughter, you are right. He has not dared to announce his grades for the past 3 years. He must have scored too low to be embarrassed to show them. Zhang Lan said sarcastically. Chen He didn't look angry. He put some food on his parents' bowls and said without even raising his eyelids, previous grades don't mean anything. If you want to see, wait and see what happens after the college entrance examination. I will be admitted to Jiangcheng University and make my parents happy for me. Chen Shui smiled and said, you should get into a third-tier university first. Zhang Lan shook her head, daughter, you'd better not discourage Chen He. It would be bad if he gave up. Chen He added another bowl of rice for himself. Don't argue with fools, and don't argue with villains. Zhang Lan and Chen Shui were confused, they didn't understand. Daughter, what do you mean by this? I haven't heard of it. Chen Kajin looked unhappy, even though he didn't understand. But I know Chen He definitely didn't say anything good. Chen He, your second aunt and sister are trying to encourage you, what's your attitude? Motivate me. I guess you made a little money, so you came to my house just to show off. Chen Kajin was stunned. His construction team was making money, but he hadn't told his eldest brother about it. How did Chen He know about it? Chapter 13 Second Uncle's Face. Chen Kachin immediately looked at Chen Kajian, thinking that it was difficult to make money these days, and maybe he could ask his younger brother for a hand. Judging from Chen Kajian's expression just now, Chen He must be right. His second uncle, how much did you earn? Chen Kachin asked curiously. He just lost his job and hasn't told his family yet. If only Chen Kajian could take him to make money together. Maybe I will be able to drive my own car in the future. What man doesn't want to drive? Although the hope is not great. But for his wife and Chen He was willing to bow his head. Not much, just the price of 3 jetters. Chen Kajian said proudly. Chen Kachin was stunned for a moment. 1 jetter cost more than 100,000 yuan, and 3 of them would cost more than 300,000 yuan, nearly 400,000 yuan. He knew that Chen Kajian had a construction team that usually took on some small projects and earned about 70,000 to 80,000 yuan. What kind of project did you take on to make so much money? If you can make money this way, take me with you. What's wrong, are you short of money? Chen Kajian looked at his elder brother curiously. Who would complain that they don't make enough money? This is my plan. I'm going to save some money now so that I can buy a car for Sheher when she gets married. Naturally, Chen Kachin couldn't tell everyone that he was laid off. Brother, you are very thoughtful, but you can't do it on my side. You want me to carry bricks and cement? No, we are brothers, how can you ask me to do manual labor? Chen Kachin thought Chen Kajian was joking. When we 2 brothers work together, it will be a good story. When we become famous, we can go back home and let those who look down on us be envious and jealous, right? Brother, you have to rely on yourself for everything. Chen Kajian smiled, picked up the wine glass, took a sip and put it down. Brother, have you heard of the saying, it's easier to add flowers to a beautiful woman than to send charcoal in the snow? Do you understand what it means? Chen Kachin's old face turned red. He didn't expect that his own brother was so powerful. What that means is that as the eldest brother, he just takes advantage of what is ready-made. Brother, are you telling me this? Even fathers and sons have to settle accounts clearly. Brother, all my achievements today are the result of my own hard work. It has nothing to do with you. Chen Kajian sneered. Just because I never helped you, you come to my house to show off. Chen Kachin's face finally turned ugly. He really didn't expect it. My own brother could say such heartless words. Brother, this is fate. It's enough for the Chen family to have me alone to prosper and bring honor to the family. You can't do that. Clang. Han Li couldn't bear to listen any longer, so she pushed the bowl away and went straight back to the bedroom. Bang! The bedroom door slammed shut. Zhang Lan said dissatisfiedly, who is she trying to displease? Daughter, let's go. It's so dirty here. Now that the conversation has been opened. Zhang Lan no longer cared about what she said. Let's go to a restaurant. This food is terrible. Chen Shui said with a look of disgust, but she forgot that there were many fish bones and chicken bones in front of her. Chen Kachin had a sullen face, said nothing, and drank glass after glass of wine. Dad, drink less. Chen He tried to dissuade him. Seeing Chen Kachin begging for help for the sake of this family, he felt uncomfortable. He secretly vowed that when he lived again, he would free his parents from all worries and let them live a happy old age. Isn't it just university? Isn't it just about making money? 2 lives as a human being. Who are you looking down on? The meal lost its flavor. Chen Kajian and his family left. Standing in the community yard, Chen Kajian said hypocritically, Chen He, it doesn't matter if you can't get into college, you can go to a 3rd-tier university, and I will lend you money then. However, after you graduate, you have to work for me and carry bricks and cement for me. Chen He said calmly, second uncle, have you ever heard a saying? Don't bully a poor man. A dragon will soar one day. From the east of the river to the west of the weir, I will be admitted to Jiangcheng University and make a lot of money. Chen Kajian sneered, let's not talk about whether you can get into a top university. Even if you do, you are not so naive as to think that you can make a lot of money after graduation. Let me tell you, I have already hired several college students on my construction site. Wealth is a process of accumulation. It is also a process of expressing social experience and worldly wisdom. College students have no social experience and no social skills, so it is extremely difficult for them to accumulate wealth. I believe that reading can change your life. Chen He didn't argue. It's better to believe in yourself than in fate. You are still too young. Come on, even if you get into a top university, wait until you really make more money than me, then you can talk to me about reason. You and your father will be poor for the rest of your lives. Let's go. Chen Kachin suppressed his inner anger and almost stepped forward to start a fight. Chen Kachin also had to drive the borrowed jetter to take them to the bus station. You can imagine how uncomfortable this journey will be. The moon is rising above the branches. Chen Kachin parked the jetter and saw Chen He sitting at the door of the apartment building, seemingly waiting for him. Dad, Mom went to bed early. I hope your uncle and the others didn't make things difficult for you. We didn't talk all the way. I dropped them off at the bus station and then came back. Chen He nodded. In the past, Chen Kajin came to visit relatives at home. When they left, my father would give them some local specialties as a return gift. But that didn't happen this time, which shows that Chen Kajin's family did hurt his father. Dad, don't worry, I will definitely be admitted to Jiangcheng University. Chen He said firmly. My dear son, where there is a will there is a way. You must strive to be good and get into a top university, so that you can give them a good slap in the face. No problem, go home. The father and son walked into the apartment building, talking and laughing, as if the unpleasantness of the evening was like being bitten by a dog. People can't bite a dog again. Chen He showed his determination with practical actions. He reviewed even harder. The sound of him reciting words could be heard from the living room through the door. Han Li was sitting on the sofa and stood up to turn down the volume of the black and white TV. Our son has been working too hard these past few days. I'll have to make him some red date porridge to replenish his blood. Chen Kachin nodded. He said he wanted to be admitted to Jiangcheng University. I believe our son will be able to get in. You believed him. Han Li felt that this matter was unreliable. Her son's grades have been at the bottom of the class for 3 years. It is a pipe dream to expect to catch up with the learning progress of top students after only a few days of review. How about we make a bet? Chen Kachin became serious. Fuck you, it's not that I don't trust our son, I'm just afraid that he's too tired and puts too much pressure on himself. Alas, it's all because of our incompetence. Han Li sighed. Chen Kachin felt guilty because he had not yet told his wife that he was laid off. Xiao He is a filial son. What we can do is to let him take the college entrance examination without any pressure. You can buy him some more supplements later. You don't need to tell me. I know how to care for my own son. Time flies. When you do something seriously, you will find that time passes very quickly. On the blackboard in the classroom, the class monitor took a piece of chalk and changed the countdown number for the college entrance examination to 7. Zhang Rou stood on the podium and took a deep breath. She was going to make the final mobilization. Chapter 14, Farewell to Senior Year. Classmates, the time for the final exam has come. Since you have chosen a distant place, you should just focus on the journey regardless of wind and rain. The school has decided that everyone should go home and review during these 7 days to stay in the best condition for the college entrance examination. Zhang Rou scanned the faces of every student in the class seriously. These are the future pillars of our motherland. 7 days later. This is the time when they blossom and bear fruit. Perhaps they will forget themselves thereafter. But all your efforts are worth it. You are the worst class I have ever taught. Oh. As soon as he finished speaking, dissatisfaction broke out from the audience. However, the students were not angry, and everyone had a smile on their face. Teacher Zhang, your words are very hurtful to my self-esteem. I don't believe it. There must be people worse than us. Zhang Rou frowned and patted the desk lightly, and the classroom became quiet. As everyone knows, I never lie or cheat anyone, so you better keep up the good work. The Academic Affairs Office just sent a notice that all Senior 3 students will go to the playground to attend the college entrance examination oath-taking ceremony. The principal will speak to you in person. This is a process that every senior high school student has to go through. Oath-taking ceremony. The countdown to the last time students stood on campus has begun. Zhang Rou gave a gentle smile and smoothed the hair beside her ears. Boys and girls, take a 10-minute break and gather at the playground later. There was a burst of cheers in the classroom. Zhang Rou walked out of the classroom. Chen He noticed that Zhang Rou wiped her eyes the moment she opened the door. The students in the classroom were cheering. Some threw their textbooks high up onto the ceiling of the classroom. Because everyone knows, walking out of the school gate today means saying goodbye to this place completely. Chen He was in a daze for a while. In my previous life, all my thoughts were on Feng Yiman. I neglected my studies, ignored my classmates, and missed a lot of wonderful moments. In the front row of the classroom, the male monitor with glasses was pinned down on the table by his deskmate. He struggled desperately and started to cry while shouting. Is he such a sensitive person? A girl walked up to the physics class representative, handed him a letter, and then returned to her seat with a red face. The physics class representative put the letter away, apparently intending to read it after school. Zheng Xiaobing chattered and threw his textbook onto the ceiling of the classroom over and over again. Chen He, we'll be free this afternoon, buddy, let's go to the internet cafe and play games until we're exhausted. Chen He shook his head and flatly refused, focus on it. You're still thinking about surfing the internet. I don't ask you to go to the same university as me, but at least we shouldn't be too far apart. Thinking back to my previous life, I was in my last moments with tubes inserted all over my body. Zheng Xiaobing came to see him, holding his hand tightly and crying loudly, looking very sad. He also promised to help take care of his parents. Chen He left this world peacefully that night. Chen He cherishes his friendship with Zheng Xiaobing. So I don't want to lose contact with you just because you went to different universities. Distance weakens feelings. Friendship is also a kind of emotion. Brother He, you can't bear to leave me. Zheng Xiaobing was stunned for a moment, then suddenly hugged Chen He. Get out of my way. Chen He pushed Zheng Xiaobing away with a look of disgust. Zheng Xiaobing scratched his head. I know, don't worry, no matter how bad I am, I will get into Jiangcheng Computer College. We are good brothers forever. Jiangcheng Computer College is a technical college located near Jiangcheng University and in the same university district. This shows that Zheng Xiaobing is not just playful. He worked hard in private. It can be seen that he is still very careful. His expression eased a lot, and he shook his head. Look at your lack of ability, can't you apply to Jiangcheng Commercial College? Jiangcheng Commercial College is also a technical college, located right opposite Jiangcheng University, separated only by a main road. Zheng Xiaobing confidently said, I checked. There are more men in the business school and more women in the computer science school. His goal is to find a partner during college and get married after graduation, and he hasn't decided what to do next. Chen He looked at Zheng Xiaobing speechlessly. You got it wrong, right? There are more women in the business school, and the computer school is full of men. How many female programmers have you seen? Zheng Xiaobing was stunned and scratched his head before he suddenly realized. Fuck, I told you something was wrong. It's okay. The passing score for the business school is 370. I promised to get 400 points. Chen He didn't believe Zheng Xiaobing's bragging. If you can score 371, I'll treat you to a delicious meal. That's what you said. I said so. Just then, a broadcast announcement sounded in the school. Please all Senior 3 students gather at the playground, and the head teachers of each Senior 3 class will come to the Academic Affairs office for a meeting. A large group of people rushed out of the classroom. The current principal gave an impassioned mobilization speech on the podium under the scorching sun. It is nothing more than hoping that senior high school students can perform at an exceptional level in the college entrance examination. Expressed appreciation for the students' efforts. Then the names of the students who had made the most progress in each class of senior high school were announced and praised. Among them is Chen He's name. After 3 years of high school, it's not bad to get a most improved award at the end, Chen He thought. At last. I hope that all students can have a brilliant and promising life in the future. The oath-taking and mobilization meeting ended. Chen He and others returned to the classroom. Zhang Rou was already waiting on the podium. I have said what I need to say. Finally, I wish all the students a bright future. School is over. Zhang Rou left decisively this time. After Zhang Rou left the classroom erupted in cheers. Countless textbooks flew to the ceiling. Cheers and shouts of joy rang out one after another. Chen He looked out the window. This summer had just begun, but it felt like it was about to end. The students began to exchange contact lists. In 2005, it was still popular in high school to write lyrics books and put up photo stickers. Student Zhang, this is the phone number of my home phone. Please write it down. I'll give you a poem I wrote myself. The classroom was bustling with activity, and everyone had someone they wanted to communicate with. Student Chen He, can I have a few words with you? Just at this moment, Feng Yiman came to the back row of the classroom alone. Go ahead. Chen He had a blank expression on his face. I'll tell you the truth. I've actually wanted to tell you for a long time that we're not suitable. Even if you get admitted to Jiangcheng University, I won't date you. Thank you for being so kind to me over the past 3 years. Thank you for taking me home in spite of the wind and rain. Thank you for buying me breakfast and my birthday present. I think, from today on, we won't meet again. Feng Yiman said a lot of things, but the bottom line was that she wanted to cut off all ties with Chen He. Chen He hasn't said anything yet. Zheng Xiaobing's eyes were red, and he said angrily, Feng Yiman, are you still a human being? You still know that Chen He is so good to you. If you have any shame, return the things that Chen He spent money on for you. I look down on you if you do this. Chen He raised his hand and signaled Zheng Xiaobing to handle it himself. You're done. Feng Yiman smiled disdainfully, no. Chapter 15 Xiao Chen and Xiao Xia. As soon as Feng Yiman opened her mouth, Chen He understood her purpose. Feng Yiman was sure that she would not be able to get into Jiangcheng University. So it could be said that she was retaliating. But it's more about showing off and narcissism. She was telling herself this. There is an unbridgeable gap between me and her. I find that you are getting better at pretending. If you feel uncomfortable, just say it out loud. Don't just pretend. Feng Yiman raised her hand to cover her mouth and laughed secretly, looking like she saw through everything. Who are you talking about pretending? Zheng Xiaobing glared at Feng Yiman. He took a step forward but was stopped by Chen He. Don't you just think that I can't get into Jiangcheng University? Chen He said lightly. Having lived 2 lives, it is absolutely impossible for me to get angry over such a small matter. Besides, Feng Yiman's position in his heart is not even as important as a stray dog on the street. I thought you had no self-awareness. I'm not trying to discourage you. Don't think you'll be fine just because your homeroom teacher praised you a few times. Feng Yiman sneered, his attitude full of disdain. Even if Feng Xia helps you with your studies, you have made a little progress, but this does not mean that you can be admitted to Jiangcheng University. After saying that, Feng Yiman smoothed her hair. That's what you think. You don't think the whole world revolves around you. Chen He looked into Feng Yiman's eyes calmly. Feng Yiman immediately avoided his gaze. She didn't dare to look directly into Chen He's eyes. Since you are so confident, I don't want to discourage you. If you can really get into Jiangcheng University, I will consider dating you. Do you dare to make this bet? I dare. I wonder what you want to bet on. Chen He smiled. You should get admitted to Jiangcheng University first. Feng Yiman naturally wouldn't be fooled. After saying this, she returned to her seat without looking back. She also felt guilty. It's not that I think Chen He can pass the exam. But she hadn't thought about what to bet on at all. What she said just now was just to make Chen He understand the gap between them. Can Chen He be admitted to Jiangcheng University? It's about right to take the exam to be a security guard. Chen He, Feng Yiman is so abominable, why are you acting like nothing happened? As a bystander, Zheng Xiaobing was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. But he was surprised to find that Chen He remained calm. Why should I argue with her? Haven't you heard that only women and villains are difficult to raise? Chen He smiled slightly. In his previous life, after he confessed his love to Feng Yiman in class, he became the laughingstock of the class. Later, I failed to get admitted to Jiangcheng University. Once again, he became the absolute clown in the class. The title of bootlicker accompanied him until his death. This time he did it for no other reason. Just to prove my point. Since you don't believe you can get into Jiangcheng University, then use reality to slap Feng Yiman in the face. I'm going to the bathroom. Zheng Xiaobing sometimes admires Chen He very much. Be able to take it and put it down. This is what he wants to learn. All the students in the class were exchanging contacts, except Chen He. As a poor student sitting at the last row of the class. even if I got good grades in the tests every day. His image and status in the hearts of his classmates will not change at all. Once you put on tinted glasses, it's hard to take off. Of course, Chen He's own reasons are the main factor. No one exchanges contacts with him, so he enjoys the peace and quiet. Student Chen He, this is my notebook. It contains my class notes and some big questions that might be on the college entrance examination. You can take a good look at it when you get home. Feng Yiman came to the back row of the classroom, put down a clean and tidy notebook and left. Chen He was stunned. He stared at the notebook with Feng Yiman's temperature still on it. This girl is so thoughtful. Chen He couldn't help but grin. Feng Yiman was probably afraid that she would not pass the exam. Don't worry, we will definitely meet at Jiangcheng University. Chen He has confidence in himself. Guangming Community. After school, Chen He returned to his bedroom. He would do some exercises before dinner. This had become a fixed habit. After finishing the exercises and comparing them with the correct answers, they were completely correct. A confident smile appeared on Chen He's lips. He glanced at the notebook Feng Yiman gave him. Pick it up and prepare to open it. A card ticket fell out from the page and fell to the ground. Chen He bent down and picked it up. Could it be that these were Feng Yiman's words of encouragement to himself? The line of words that came into his sight stunned Chen He. Xiao Chen, I have confidence in you. You must come to Jiangcheng University, otherwise I will be sad and die. I am very happy to meet you in the season when mountain flowers are in full bloom. I also hope that you can become the Lao Chen in my heart. Little Chen, old Chen. Chen his head buzzed. Feng Yiman was expressing her feelings to herself. Chen He was in a daze for a second, his hands were shaking. He was right. Feng Yiman really likes me. Getting admitted to Jiangcheng University is their common goal. But Feng Yiman has an ultimate goal. That is, grow old together. Chen He suddenly rushed out of the room regardless of everything. The moment the door opens, he bumped into Han Li. Boy, what are you doing? You look so stupid. I'm going to go out for a while, Mom, you guys eat first, don't wait for me. Really? Dinner is about to start. Why go out for fun at this time? Han Li shook her head speechlessly. Chen Kachin sat down at the dining table, poured a glass of wine, picked it up and smelled it. Xiaohe has grown up. Chen He, still wearing slippers and a pair of loose shorts, ran to an internet cafe near his home as quickly as possible. Boss, turn on a machine. Show me your ID card. It's ready. You can use the machine here at will. It's more expensive over there. Thanks. Chen He put away his ID card, found a computer at random, sat down and turned it on. Find QQ and log in directly. He has a good memory and still remembers Feng Yiman's QQ number. Quick input completed, search. A QQ number named Gardenia Blossoms came into view. Add friends. I am Chen He, Feng Yiman is me. Chen He felt a little nervous and expected the other party to respond immediately. At the same time, in a villa, Feng Yiman had already had dinner with her family and was reviewing English questions at her desk. The cell phone on the table suddenly vibrated. Feng Yiman didn't care at first and continued to concentrate on the questions. But the phone kept buzzing. Feng Yiman then picked up his phone to check and saw that QQ was flashing non-stop. Feng Yiman opened QQ and was stunned the next second. She was instantly surprised. Xiao Chen, it's him. She was very happy but also very nervous, and agreed to the friend request with trembling hands. Xiaoxia, I'm Chen He. I just want to say that I'm willing to be your Lao Chen. Are you willing to always be the Xiaoxia in my heart? Chen He sent this message but did not receive a response for a long time. He is somewhat anxious about gains and losses. Did I misunderstand? Chen He felt a sense of loss, and at this moment, the QQ dialog box began to flash. Gardenia Blossoms, I'd like to see you at Jiangcheng University, he. Feng Yiman's QQ turned grey at this time, obviously he was offline. Chen He was so happy that he almost danced with joy. Chapter 16 Chen He's determination. Chen He didn't want to go online, so he went back home after logging off the computer. Walking on the road feels light and airy. To be honest, in my previous life, I put all my attention on Feng Yiman. He never paid any attention to other girls. I will never give up until I reach the wall. After living a new life, he is no longer the bootlicker who hanged himself on a crooked tree. Xiaoxia, see you at Jiangcheng University. In the next few days, Chen He continued to study intensively at home. Except for eating and going to the toilet. I basically stayed in my room reading, reciting texts, and doing exercises. For him. Lost in the previous life. I must get them all back this time. In the living room, Chen Kachin and his wife were chatting at this time. They saw Chen He's efforts. Han Li said worriedly, Xiao He has been working too hard these past 2 days. I'm really worried that he might have exhausted himself. Chen Kachin comforted him, you are just worrying about nothing. Xiao He is already an adult, he knows his limits. Han Li sighed, I just feel sorry for Xiao He. It's okay. Our Xiao He has been strong since he was young. He will definitely overcome this difficulty. Although Chen Kachin said this, he was thinking in his heart that he had to take his son for a walk in the community after dinner. You must combine work and rest. Time flies. Chen He was so focused on preparing for the college entrance examination that he really cut off contact with the outside world. Chen Kachin and Han Li saw it. I can only support silently. There are 2 days left until the college entrance examination. Chen Kachin knocked on the door. Enter. Xiao He, it's hot in the room. Let me add an electric fan to your room. Chen Kachin held a floor fan, the kind that could turn left and right, and placed it under the window before leaving the room. It rains every year before and after the college entrance examination. This year is no exception. Chen He sat at the desk, with 2 fans humming behind him. The room was filled with the sounds of writing and drawing. It's raining heavily outside the window. Wow 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 wow. Chen He was concentrating on his work and didn't pay any attention to what was happening outside. There was a pile of exercises and notes in front of me. I've come up with a new way to solve this math problem. Har har, it's right. The easiest places to lose points in English are the choice and listening sections, and I am weak in listening. Just thinking about it. Han Li knocked on the door and said, Son, Mom is coming in. Come in, the door is not locked. Chen He responded. Han Li gently pushed the door open and placed a new recorder on the table. Son, your tape recorder is too old and often jams. Why don't you use this new one? Thank you, Mom. Read your book carefully, Mom is out. Han Li smiled and left the room. Chen He looked at the recorder in his hand and felt a little sad. The repeaters on the market are all around 50 or 60. Usually, my parents have to budget even $10 carefully. Chen He became more confident. I must be admitted to Jiangcheng University. The college entrance examination is tomorrow. Chen He didn't review at home. He needed to relax after studying so intensively. He and Zheng Xiaobing spent their whole day surfing the internet. Chen He, you're the only one left. Zheng Xiaobing said nervously. It's okay. Leave it to me. Chen He said calmly, staring intently at the computer screen. Brother He, be careful, the enemy sniper is too strong. Chen He was holding an M4 in his hand, and his character had only 40 health points left. This was a dead end. He was also a little nervous. The palms of my hands holding the mouse were sweaty. The other party has shown up. Zheng Xiaobing yelled. Chen He flicked the mouse, click, headshot, taking away the opponent's head at the last moment and winning the game. The word victory appeared on the screen. Awesome, your headshot is amazing, my brother He, give me a kiss. Zheng Xiaobing shouted with joy. Chen He pushed away Zheng Xiaobing's sudden attack. Get lost, do you still want to play? Play. I'll go pay some fees. And bring me a bottle of water. It was already evening when I finished surfing the internet. You have to read the notes I gave you and take them seriously. Don't cry if you fail to get into Jiangcheng Business College. Chen He and Zheng Xiaobing were standing on the street, each holding a popsicle. Don't worry, I have memorized them thoroughly. I promise I can handle all the subjects except physics and chemistry. Zheng Xiaobing said solemnly. Basically, every student has some subject bias. Those who are well-rounded in both arts and sciences are all top students. Chen He believes that Zheng Xiaobing will do what he says. The college entrance examination will be held tomorrow. Don't be late. Brother He, I find you are more nagging than my mother. I remember. Okay, I've got it. I'll set 3 alarms tomorrow, okay. Chen He and Zheng Xiaobing separated and returned directly to Guangming community. Just arrived at the door. I saw Han Li arguing with the woman next door. Say it again if you dare, my son is better than your son. Han Li's neck was red. Come on, your son's grades are at the bottom of every subject. Don't think the neighbors don't know. Luo Yu taunted. You want to fight, don't you? Fight, who's afraid of who? Hey, do you really think I'm afraid of you? Seeing that Han Li was about to fight with Luo Yu, Chen He stood between them in time. Mom, Aunt Luo, please stop arguing. We have been neighbors for decades, please don't ruin the relationship. Chen He pushed Han Li back home. Han Li sat on the sofa in a depressed mood. Chen He sighed. In his previous life, he neglected his studies and focused entirely on Feng Yiman. He was so naive that he thought he could impress Feng Yiman with his sincerity. What he got in return was a tragic ending of being made a fool of himself. At that time, I didn't think about my parents at all. It seems now. At first, it was because of my poor academic performance. My parents must have been looked down upon by their neighbors a lot. This era society is still in the development stage. Going to college is the only way to change your destiny. College students are a group that is envied and respected. If a family has a college student, the parents will be very proud and will hold a grand banquet for 3 days. Knowledge changes destiny. This is a deeply rooted concept of the older generation. This is also the mainstream of society. Chen He has to follow this mainstream. Only by getting into college can his parents hold their heads up high in front of their neighbors. There are many regrets left from my previous life. Chen He doesn't want to have any regrets in his life. By the evening, Chen He already knew Shuxiu's address, and he decided to pick her up early the next morning. The morning of the college entrance examination. Has Scherer gotten up yet? Why not let him sleep a little longer? He has been too tired these days. Chen Kaqin asked. Han Li said speechlessly, Scherer went out for a run, and you don't even know how you can be a father. He gets up so early. Chen Kaqin was surprised. According to his idea, today was such an important day and Chen He should be fully prepared. Things like running can be put on hold for now. Our son has a plan. When he grows up, I believe he will be able to go to college. I hope so. Chen He came back from running, changed his clothes, had breakfast, packed his things for the exam, and then rode his mountain bike out. Mom and Dad, I'm leaving. Be careful on the road and don't panic. Your parents believe in you. Han Li's eyes were red and she waved towards Chen He's back. Chapter 17, Fighting the Gangsters. Chen He left home early and planned his time well, making sure he would not be late. I just rode out a few steps. It started to drizzle. Chen He stopped by the roadside and had to put on his raincoat. I have to hurry. The road was slippery due to the rain, so Chen He didn't care. Today is the college entrance examination, a special day. The superiors should have issued a notice to ensure traffic on the road. So there are not many vehicles on the road. The rain dampened my vision. After riding for a while, Chen He had to stop and wipe the rain off his face. Shuxiu, you must hold on. The other side. Pailu village in the suburbs of Sanhe city. Shuxiu prepared everything and prepared to go out. Xiaoxiu, be careful on the road, don't think too much during the exam, don't feel burdened. Grandma looked at Shuxiu kindly. I know, Grandma. I won't be back until the evening. I've put the food on the table. Remember to eat it. Shuxiu pointed to a table next to their bed. Crunch. The dilapidated door was pushed open. A middle-aged woman walked in. Sure, you are taking the college entrance examination today, right? Don't worry, I will take care of your grandma. Thank you so much, Aunt Zhang. Shuxiu was very surprised and immediately expressed his gratitude. You are being too polite. Your grandmother helped my family a lot in the past, and it is only right for me to repay her now. Aunt Zhang said with a smile. When Grandma Shuxiu was young, she was a well-known good person who helped people in need a lot. Among them, Aunt Zhang's family received the most help. Shuxiu's parents work away from home all year round and only come home during the Chinese New Year. Her grandmother is paralyzed in bed. The burden of the family. All fell on Shuxiu. Aunt Zhang felt distressed when she thought that Shuxiu had to take care of her grandmother and focus on her studies. Grandma, Aunt Zhang, I'm going out. Do well in the exam. Shuxiu left home and went to the village entrance to take the bus to the city. Standing at the village entrance waiting for the bus. But because it was raining, I waited for more than 10 minutes but didn't see the bus. Shuxiu didn't notice at all. A gangster not far away was staring at Shuxiu, or to be exact, at Shuxiu's backpack. The gangster knew that today was the day of the college entrance examination. Shuxiu is outside all day, so he must have a lot of money in his school bag. It just so happens that he is short of money recently. Because of the rain, there was no one around. The gangster slowly approached Shuxiu. Such weather. No one will see you committing the crime. The gangster approached and saw Shuxiu's face, and immediately had evil intentions. Although it was raining. But it can still be seen that Shuxiu's skin is very white. The gangster licked his lips, and the evil thoughts in his heart became stronger. Shuxiu suddenly noticed someone approaching from behind. She subconsciously moved her feet and left the spot. The gangster came to where Shuxiu had just stood and sniffed hard. In the air, besides the smell of soil, there was also the fragrance of a young girl. The gangster was feeling restless. Approaching Shuxiu again. Shuxiu seemed to notice the gangster as well. If it were a normal day and there were a lot of people at the bus stop, she wouldn't think too much about it. But now it's just me. Shuxiu became alert. I tried to comfort myself, thinking that I was overthinking and that there was nothing to be afraid of. The gangster saw that there was no one around and was worried that the bus would come and the prey would run away. He first moved forward slowly, then his legs suddenly accelerated, and he put one arm around Shuxiu's shoulders from behind and covered her mouth with the other hand. Shuxiu struggled violently. Tears welled up in my eyes. The more you fear something, the more likely it will come. But she was a girl and was no match for the gangsters in strength. Just watched him being dragged away by the gangsters. Shuxiu felt desperate. No way. Am I destined to be unlucky today? The thought of the gangsters committing violence against me. Shuxiu couldn't help but tremble violently all over. The gangster felt Shuxiu's fear, which further stimulated his emotions. He quickened his pace, he couldn't wait to execute Shuxiu on the spot. Just when Shuxiu was extremely desperate and had nowhere to turn to. Suddenly there was a loud bang. The gangster was hit by a brick on the back of his head. He let out a cry and let go of Shuxiu with both hands. Shuxiu quickly hid behind a tree. Who the hell hits me? I'll kill you. The gangster covered the back of his head and felt blood, but the rain instantly washed the blood off his hands. The gangster was furious. Turning around, I saw Chen He walking slowly towards me with a wooden stick in his hand. Chen He is wearing school uniform. He looks like he is about 17 or 18 years old. The gangster was in his 20s and when he saw that Chen He was younger than him, he started yelling at him on the spot. You little brat who hasn't even fully grown his hair yet, you dare to ruin my good deeds. I'll destroy you today. I've called the police. You'd better run away, or you'll end up in jail. Chen He was holding the wooden stick, very nervous, and his whole body was shaking. This is a gangster who can kill people. Different from fighting. If you are not careful, you may really die at the hands of the other party. Student Chen He. Hurry up and leave. Shuxiu recognized Chen He. Although she found it hard to believe why Chen He came to save her, she also didn't want anything to happen to Chen He. The gangsters have already rushed up. It was easy for him to deal with a boy of 17 or 18. Chen He waved a wooden stick. The gangster dodged easily. Boy, you don't know how to fight, he. The gangster suddenly pulled out a dagger. Chen He did not retreat. He really didn't know how to fight and had never fought in his previous life. Although I am also very scared. But he saw Shuxiu, whose face was pale with fear. If he was scared, then what's the point of rebirth? Chen He's hands holding the wooden stick were shaking more and more. The gangster rushed towards Chen He with a dagger in hand. Chen He was ready to fight to the death. Sudden. The sirens sounded. A police car stopped out front. The gangster was horrified, dropped the dagger and ran away. Several uniformed police officers immediately chased after him and caught the gangster in a short while. The leading police officer understood what was going on. The young man is good. He was not afraid when facing the knife-wielding criminal. In fact, Chen He was just impulsive at the moment. He felt dizzy and his legs were unstable. "Uncle Police, can this man be sentenced?" The police officer looked at Chen He in surprise and said, "Of course we can sentence him. We have been keeping an eye on this guy for several days. You two get in the car now and go back with us to take a statement." The gangster was a habitual criminal who not only stole and robbed people, but also seriously injured others. If he is caught this time, he will have to be imprisoned for at least 7 or 8 years. "We are examinees. Can we wait until we finish the exam to take the statement?" Chen He requested, looking at his watch. If he went to take the statement, he would be late for the college entrance examination. "You are the examinees. How about this? I will take you to the examination room." The policeman thought for a moment and said. Chen He said happily, "Thank you, police officer." In the back seat of the police car, Shuxiu was in a very bad condition and was shaking all over. She had escaped death, but she was still in fear. "Arrive." Chen He and Shuxiu got out of the car, and Shuxiu suddenly begged, "Classmate Chen He, I'm scared, can you help me? I can't walk anymore." Just at this moment, a young man came out of the canteen. Chapter 18, Discovering Cheaters One After Another. Seeing that Shuxiu was frightened, Chen He had to help her into the examination room. The two were very close. Shuxiu's originally pale face gradually returned to normal because of Chen He's presence. Student Chen He saved himself. He is handsome and tall, and he doesn't look down on himself like others do. As Shuxiu walked, her face turned red. While Chen He was supporting Shuxiu, he also paid attention to his feet. The road was slippery on a rainy day and he didn't want to slip. He didn't notice. A young man was walking towards me with his head lowered. The two men's shoulders happened to touch. "Don't you have eyes when walking?" The young man stopped and glared at Chen He. But when he saw the school uniform on Chen He, he suppressed his anger and said, "Forget it." The young man walked towards a black Mercedes. "Student Chen He, that person was so fierce just now." Shuxiu said fearfully. "It's okay, don't be scared. Take the test carefully and don't let it affect your performance." Chen He comforted. He always felt that the young man just now looked familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen him. "Thank you, classmate Chen He. I promise you that I will do well in the exam." Shuxiu nodded seriously. "Show me your admission ticket." They were stopped at the entrance of the examination room. "This is our admission ticket." Chen He and Shuxiu took out their admission tickets. "Come in." Only then did they enter the examination room. This is Sanhe Junior High School, and the examination venue is located here. The young man opened the back seat of the Mercedes and handed an eraser to a girl. "Xiaoxia, this is the eraser you requested. It's almost time, please go into the examination room." The girl in the back seat was Feng Xia. The young man is called Feng Cheng, and he is her brother. Feng Xia didn't hear what Feng Cheng said. She looked at the entrance of the examination room, feeling very upset. Chen He hugged Shuxiu, when did they? Feng Xia was lost in thought. Feng Cheng raised his hand and waved it in front of Feng Xia. "What's wrong, bro? Are you okay, Xiaoxia? You don't look too well." Feng Xia shook his head. "I'm fine, I'm in the exam room." Feng Xia was about to push open the back door and get out of the car. "Take the exam well and don't feel burdened. Even if you don't perform well, with our family's financial resources, it will be easy for you to go to college or even study abroad." Feng Cheng said in a calm tone. It can be seen that the Feng family is very strong. Feng Xian said, dispelled all distracting thoughts in his mind, got off the car and entered the examination room. In the classroom, Chen He got the Chinese test paper. Looking at the questions on the test paper, Chen his eyes lit up. These questions were too simple. 2 lives as a human being. Plus study hard. His Chinese performance has already improved by leaps and bounds. It only took me 7 or 8 minutes to finish the first few questions. The last big question is composition. Please write a narrative essay based on the 5 lectures and for beauties. Chen He grinned. He had already written more than a dozen essays on this topic, so it was definitely a piece of cake for him. Half an hour later, Chen He finished the paper. The test lasts 150 minutes. It would be too boring to keep waiting. He was just considering whether to hand in the paper early. Suddenly noticed. One student looked very suspicious. The student kept his head down and looked like he was writing on the test paper seriously, but Chen He noticed that his eyes were focused on the pen he was writing with. The boy grinned, showing a smile of success. Chen He suddenly came up with a bold idea. That guy is cheating. Although the college entrance examination is the exam with the strictest supervision, cheating is absolutely not allowed. Once caught, you will be disqualified from the exam immediately. But there are always people who take risks. Chen He suddenly raised his hand and stood up. There are 5 invigilators in total. One of them came over. Classmate, what do you want? The female invigilator said indifferently. Have you finished writing? Then check it again. Don't be careless at this time and leave regrets. I glanced and saw that Chen He had finished his paper. The handwriting is neat. Just like printed text. I was also surprised. Of course, there were tens of thousands of candidates, and countless of them were excellent, so the female invigilator did not make a fuss. She was just giving a friendly reminder. Teacher, I suspect someone is cheating over there. It's that person. Chen He whispered. The female invigilator looked in the direction of Chen He's finger. I originally wanted to say that Chen He was shooting at nothing. But she soon discovered something suspicious about that person. Student, please sit down first. I understand. The female invigilator walked up to the boy and said, Give me your pen. The boy was startled. Why did the invigilator come? I shouldn't have been exposed. Pretending to remain calm, he handed the pen to the invigilator. The female invigilator took the pen, checked it carefully, and indeed found the cheat sheet in it. The cheat sheet is covered by the pattern on the pen. Requires a specific angle to see. You, pack up your things and leave the examination room immediately. You are disqualified. Teacher, please give me another chance. I will never dare to do it again. When the boy saw that he was exposed, he quickly begged for mercy. However, this is the college entrance examination. If cheating is discovered, the corresponding consequences must be borne. The candidates were in an uproar. But immediately concentrate on answering the questions. There is a math test in the afternoon. The examination room was changed to another classroom. After Chen He got the test paper. Once again, I found these questions to be very easy to handle. Anyone who has ever waded through the sea of questions knows this. Mathematics tests your problem-solving skills. If you understand one thing, you will understand everything. Not to mention, through hard work, Chen He has already mastered a variety of problem-solving ideas. Some questions do not require verification. He knew the answer at a glance. Fill in the blanks, multiple-choice questions, and essay questions, you can write down the answers smoothly. Only half an hour had passed. Chen He was thinking again whether to hand in the paper. Just at this moment, he glanced over and a student caught his attention. There was nothing obvious about the boy's appearance. But Chen He just felt that something was wrong. After careful observation, he finally discovered that every time the boys finished a question, they would move their mouths to write it down. Could it be that this person was also cheating and he hid the cheat sheet in his mouth? Chen He raised his hand. It was still that female invigilator. Classmate? Have you finished writing again? The female invigilator has already remembered Chen He. After all, among all the candidates, Chen He is the only one who is tall and handsome. Their handwritten words are so unforgettable. Teacher, I suspect that person is cheating. Chen He whispered. The female invigilator looked at Chen He in disbelief. After all, you are here to take the college entrance examination. Or are you here to catch cheaters? With the previous experience, the female invigilator was still willing to believe Chen He. Student, please stand up. The female invigilator walked up to the man. Teacher, what's the matter? The boy was a little stunned. I felt very nervous and guilty, wondering if I had been caught cheating. Open your mouth so I can see. Teacher, why are you looking at my mouth? Do you need me to repeat that? All right. The boy opened his mouth, revealing the cheat sheet under his tongue. Pack your things and leave the examination room. The boy left reluctantly, probably knowing that begging for mercy was useless after being exposed. The students who had taken the same examination room with Chen He found it unbelievable. Isn't this person a test taker? How did he catch two people cheating in a row? Awesome. Chapter 19 Verbal Praise. The female invigilator glanced at Chen He from a distance. It seems like he thought of something. So he came to Chen He. Student, check the test paper carefully several times. It is good to have confidence. Don't make mistakes. It would be a pity if such a principled student had poor grades. I hope the other party can understand. Chen He naturally understood what the female invigilator meant. This is caring about yourself. He knew that it was his action that won the favor of the female invigilator. Thank you for the reminder, teacher. Chen He smiled. The female invigilator left with a smile on her face, and she didn't seem stupid. But at this moment, Chen He's voice gave the female invigilator a fright. Teacher, please come here for a moment. Her intuition told her. This student must have discovered something again. The female invigilator looked strange but still walked over. Teacher, that girl over there has been staring at her shoes. I suspect she is also cheating. Chen He stood up and whispered into the ear of the female invigilator. The female invigilator thought to herself, as expected. Student Chen He, please sit down. She glanced at Chen He's test paper and knew his name. Chen He was found cheating twice before. The female invigilator did not question and walked directly up to a girl. Come out with me for a moment. Teacher, I haven't finished my paper yet. I know, I have something to tell you. All right. Although the girl was extremely reluctant, she still agreed to go out with the female invigilator. The female invigilator glanced at the other male invigilator, who nodded, and then the three of them left the classroom together. Chen He admired the female invigilator's thoughtful consideration. Call the person out. It will not affect other candidates. It can also save the girl's face. And judging from a nervous and flustered look on the girl's face when she was called up just now, there is definitely something wrong with her. The female invigilator pushed open the classroom door and walked in. I went to the girl's seat, picked up the stationery and took it out. Before leaving, he looked at Chen He deeply. The candidates all paused, obviously having guessed the truth. But they immediately buried their heads and concentrated on answering the questions. The college entrance examination is the battlefield that determines one's personal destiny. Other people's affairs have nothing to do with them. The exam is finally over. Chen He handed in the paper on time. Although he could have handed it in half an hour earlier, he understood the principle of keeping a low profile. Moreover, Sanhe City produced a top scorer with full marks in the college entrance examination that year. He would be wise to keep a low profile. In front of the glory of others who scored full marks as the top scorer, his little glory will only make people feel deliberate. As soon as he left the examination room, a boy blocked Chen his way. Chen He recognized that it was the boy who cheated in the exam before. Where are you from? The other party looked gentle and refined, but unexpectedly he was full of gangster spirit as soon as he opened his mouth. What's up? Having lived two lives, Chen He is no rookie high school student who was frightened by the other party's ferocious aura. I asked you where you're from. If you have something to say, say it. If not, get lost. Chen He doesn't have a good temper towards this kind of people. Boy, don't you remember me? You are a star, and you are my son, why should I remember you? You did it on purpose, didn't you? Are you asking for a beating? I have to teach you a lesson today. The boy seemed to be irritated by Chen He. He raised his fist to teach Chen He a lesson. Just at this moment. Student Chen He. Stop. Two voices sounded at the same time. Shuxiu covered her mouth and looked at the scene in front of her with a pale face. A burly middle-aged man stared at Chen He and the others with sharp eyes. Just wait for me, kid. When the boy saw Shuxiu and the middle-aged man, he knew it was not a good idea to hit people here, so he left after saying something harsh. Student Chen He, are you okay? Shuxiu ran over and asked with concern. I'm fine. Classmate Chen He, right? You still recognize me, right? Yes. Chen He nodded. This was the policeman who had handled the matter before. I need you to go back and assist in the investigation of what happened this morning and take a statement. No problem, I'll go with you. Chen He and Shuxiu went to the police station to give a statement. After learning that he and Shuxiu were classmates, Chen He had no criminal record and his identity was very clean, so they were notified that they could leave. The police personally escorted them out the door. Student Chen He, you are a good kid. There are not many kids like you who are brave enough to do what is right. Because of your bravery, we were able to catch the criminal. Thank you. This is what I should do. When I see my classmates in trouble, I can't just stand by and do nothing. Student Chen He, you have a very high level of ideological awareness. I hope you will keep up the good work. Then let's go. Chen He and Xu Xiu said goodbye to the police and walked on the road. Thank you, Chen He. Xu Xiu bowed towards Chen He while taking notes. Only then did she realize that the little gangster had a long history of bad deeds. Fortunately, Chen He came to our rescue in time today. Otherwise, she would most likely become a corpse wandering around in the wilderness. It will not be discovered until it becomes dry bones. Chen He waved his hand. It's just a small matter. Go home quickly and don't keep your family waiting anxiously. Well, classmate Chen He, where did you fill in your college entrance examination application? Xu Xiu asked curiously. Jiangcheng University. R. Chen He was no longer surprised by Xu Xiu's reaction. I'm sorry, classmate Chen He, I didn't mean what you thought. Xu Xiu blushed and hurried to explain, as if she was afraid that Chen He might misunderstand her. I just want to say that my aspiration is also Jiangcheng University. I won't talk to you anymore. The bus is coming. Bye. Xu Xiu finished speaking with her head down, but a smile was on her lips. When she saw the bus approaching, she ran towards the platform. Chen He watched Xu Xiu get on the bus and waved goodbye to him through the window. A strange look flashed across Chen He's face. This girl, could it be that she likes me too? Chen He shook his head. Get rid of these unrealistic thoughts in your mind. He is not as trustworthy as Feng Yiman. Chen He came to a newsstand and decided to report his test results to his parents first. Uncle, let me make a phone call. Go ahead. Chen He picked up the red microphone and dialed the landline at Chen Kachin's unit. After the call was connected, he said he wanted to look for Chen Kachin. The other party asked him to wait a moment while he went to call someone. After a while. Hello? Xiaohe? How was the exam? Don't worry, Dad. It's quite simple. I finished it half an hour ahead of schedule. I have no problem. Please don't worry, Mom and you. It's good to have confidence. I'm still busy. I'll talk to you when I get home. Chen Kachin hung up the phone. After returning home and having dinner, Chen He saw Han Li and Chen Kachin seemed to be hesitant to talk. He gives people the same feeling as thousands of ordinary candidates. No one knows the result until the score line is released. Mom and Dad, I will definitely be admitted to Jiangcheng University, don't worry. Chen He was the first to break the silence. Chapter 20 Cell Phone Cheater. A relieved smile broke out on Han Li's face. Although I think my son might have deliberately said those words to comfort me. But it's enough to explain. My son really wants to do well in the exam. Son, I believe you can pass the exam. As parents, all we need to do at this time is to give silent support. Han Li finished speaking. He kicked Chen Kachin's calf. Chen Kachin reacted and immediately smiled. Xiaohe, don't feel stressed about the exam. Just do your best to perform at your best level. Chen He sighed inwardly. My parents still don't have confidence in themselves. Come to think of it. A poor student who has been at the bottom of the class for 3 years. Even if it's the last month that I suddenly work hard. It is also impossible to go from the bottom of the class to the level of being able to get into a top university. All we can do now is wait. Mom and Dad, I'm going back to my room to review. Chen He silently vowed that when the results came out, he would make his parents proud of him. Chen He entered the bedroom. Han Li suddenly pinched Chen Kachin's arm hard. I told you to be normal. What if you put pressure on your son? Chen Kachin cried out in pain, grimacing with a look of grievance. I'm asking this according to your wishes. You heard that our little He almost had a conflict with someone after the exam. I'm worried that he might have an affair with someone in society. After Chen He finished his exam in the afternoon, his way was blocked by someone and he was seen by the son of a colleague of Han Li's unit. Han Li is worried that Chen He has unclear relationships with people in society. I was going to ask this properly. But now it seems that things have backfired. I believe our son will not be with those questionable people. Let's not get involved and wait until he finishes his exams. Chen Kachin put his arm around Han Li's shoulders. Chen He was reviewing the subjects for tomorrow's exam in his room. He doesn't want anything now. I just want to complete the college entrance examination in the best condition. I didn't get into college in my previous life. In the end, I paid to read 3 books. In the hearts of the older generation, not going to college means being looked down upon. Later, Chen He's development was mediocre, and his life was even a mess. This became a regret in the hearts of parents. Chen He swore. Live a new life. I will never make the same mistake again. I must make sure that my parents have no regrets in this life. The next day, in the examination room, Chen He was very adept at answering the test questions. It's too easy. The first test in the morning was liberal arts. The easiest part to lose points in the liberal arts exam is the final big question. Chen He 1 month before the exam. I practiced questions like crazy, even taking my history books with me when I went to the bathroom, and I took turns memorizing important knowledge points from my political books. Hard work pays off. Looking at the questions on the test paper, Chen He smiled knowingly. Hard work really pays off. After Chen He finished the test paper, he saw that there was still more than half an hour left. Chen He looked around. His abnormality soon attracted the attention of the invigilator. Student, concentrate on answering the questions and don't look around. At the podium, the invigilator gave a kind reminder. The invigilator has been changed today. Chen He lowered his head and pretended to look at the test paper, but he was still paying attention to other students. Just at this moment, a boy to his upper right caught his attention. The boy was sweating profusely and looked very unnatural. Although the weather is hot, but the windows in the classroom were all open. There is also an electric fan on the wall. That means this boy has something to hide. Chen He took a few more glances. He soon discovered the clue. The boy seemed to be holding something in his left hand. After a moment, Chen He suddenly realized. It's a mobile phone. Although the supervision of the college entrance examination was very strict, electronic technology was not yet developed in 2005. There is no countermeasure against mobile phone cheating. In addition, mobile phones have not yet become popular among the general public. After all, only a minority of people in society can use mobile phones. So some people use mobile phones to cheat in the exam room, and they also take advantage of this loophole. Chen He raised his hand. The invigilator came over. Teacher, I think that classmate is weird. Chen He didn't say it clearly. He also didn't see the boy take out his cell phone. The invigilator naturally understood what Chen He meant. Student, have you finished your paper? Chen He pushed his test paper forward. The invigilator just took a look and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. The handwriting was as fair and clean as printed text. Is this a boy's paper? I took a look at the question and the answer written by Chen He. The invigilator's eyes softened a lot. He was sure that Chen He was a top student. I felt a little more favorable towards Chen He. Student, please sit down first. After the invigilator finished speaking, he walked up to the boy. The boy startled and something fell to the ground with a pop. It was a black Nokia mobile phone. The male student panicked and quickly bent down to pick it up. The other invigilators came over upon hearing the noise. Classmate, please pack your things and come out with me. The invigilator said coldly that a death notice had been issued to the student. Seeing this scene, other students expressed anger, ridicule, gloating, and disdain. The invigilator returned to the classroom. He looked at Chen He deeply. Previously, the invigilator circulated the news that a student found 3 cheaters in a classroom. At the time he thought it was nonsense. The cheaters were discovered by this student. Then what is the role of an invigilator? However, his face now turned red. The candidate brought a mobile phone into the examination room to cheat, but he didn't even notice it. He was convinced now. Chen He is the student mentioned in the rumors. The exam is over in the morning. Chen He walked out of the examination room. I stood at the entrance of the examination room and waited for a while. Did Feng Xia leave early? Chen He didn't see Feng Xia and guessed that she had gone home early. He saw Feng Yiman and Zhang Rou coming out of the examination room. Chen He looked away, as if he were a stranger. Zhang Rou pointed forward. Man, look, it's Chen He. He must be waiting for you and wants to make peace with you. Feng Yiman also saw Chen He and she sneered. If he wants to, I have to be willing. Let's go this way. Feng Yiman took Jiang Han and prepared to take the small path home. Sanhe Junior High School has a main gate and also a small path. Chen He waited for a while, but didn't see Feng Xia, so he was about to leave. Zheng Xiaobing ran over from behind. Finally I see you, brother He. I have something good to tell you. There are questions on the test paper that I have reviewed. It's all thanks to you. You made me read more books and practice more questions. Let's go. I'll treat you to a game of CS. Since Zheng Xiaobing saw Chen He studying hard and determined to get into a top university, he was deeply inspired and decided to study hard. Thanks to his hard work, his achievements finally made great progress. Entered into junior college. No problem at all. Zheng Xiaobing put his arm around Chen He's shoulders. Chen He also put his arm around Zheng Xiaobing's shoulders. The two of them walked arm in arm to the nearest internet cafe. Chapter 21 Betting. Chen He found an internet cafe. Shinlan Internet Cafe, that's a good name. Zheng Xiaobing stood at the door of the internet cafe and looked up at the sign. Come in. Chen He stepped in first. Give me your ID card and get 2 more bottles of Jianabao. Zheng Xiaobing asked Chen He for his ID card and walked towards the cashier counter of the internet cafe. Chen He found a seat and sat down. I can't tell what brand the computer screen is, I can only tell that the host is Lenovo. However, since the specific configuration can be run in an internet cafe, it is estimated to be not low. Chen He had just sat down for a while. Zheng Xiaobing came over and sat down next to Chen He. Today I'm going to beat the other team. This internet cafe is very clean and the environment is nice, said Chen He. Now that you mention it, it's true. I guess the cleaners here are hardworking and love to clean. Chen He ignored Zheng Xiaobing's naive opinion. When he arrived, he noticed that it was just 1 street away from the city center. Although housing prices were not that outrageous in 2005. But the rent of physical stores is not affordable for ordinary people. The owner of this internet cafe has some background. Judging from the clean and tidy environment of the internet cafe, it is obvious that the owner of the internet cafe is very fond of cleanliness. Chen He didn't think much about it. He could accept either good or bad environment. Turn on the computer, open the game login interface, enter your account and password, and it's all done in one go. Just at this moment. Suddenly a large group of people poured into the internet cafe. They were very excited and filled up all the seats in the internet cafe. There are so many people today. Fortunately, we came early. Zheng Xiaobing looked around and said. These people don't act like students. Chen He saw that most of the people in this group were young people. Brother Chen, business is really good today. It's not even evening yet and the seats are already full. 2 young men walked down from the 2nd floor of the internet cafe. Something big is going to happen today, so go and do your work. Watch out for anyone smoking and kick them out. Okay, Brother Chen, I promise that there won't be any dust in our internet cafe. Liu Chen nodded and walked to the cashier counter, where there was a sofa and he sat down. Boss. The cashier girl greeted me. Liu Chen turned on another computer at the cash register. Open a web page and a video of a game is playing on it. Liu Chen looked at it attentively. Pete. Pete, awesome. Har har, you are worthy of being my idol. Pete is the captain of a foreign CS team supported by Liu Chen. In the video, he just led the team to victory and successfully advanced to the finals. Everyone listened to me for a moment. Liu Chen stood up at this time, and everyone in the internet cafe turned their eyes to him. Today is the CS World Series Finals. Anyone want to place a bet? You can come to the cashier to place your bet. The whole audience was silent for a second. I want to place a bet. I want one too. If I win, is there a prize? Immediately several people walked towards the cashier. It seems that this is not the first time this has happened. Chen, his hand holding the mouse, paused. Yes. A World CS esports competition was held in 2005. Because the internet was just becoming popular at that time. Smartphones had not yet appeared. This world competition did not cause much waves in the country. I remember that the team that won the championship was from our country, and it was also the team that was never favored. Chen He immediately took out his wallet and counted the money inside. There was only 40 yuan. This was given to him by Chen Kachin. Ask him to buy some of his favorite food during the exam period. Chen He, you want to place a bet? But this is gambling. Zheng Xiaobing said in surprise. The teacher said that gambling is illegal. This is not gambling. Have you ever heard of betting on football, betting on cards, or betting on games? Chen He sneered. Not really. Zheng Xiaobing wanted his head like a rattle. After a moment, he suddenly realized. I want to place a bet too. Zheng Xiaobing reacted and excitedly acted like a little kid. At this time, more than a dozen people had gone to the cashier. Which team do you think is good? Is that even a question? Chen He rolled his eyes at Zheng Xiaobing. Which team from our country do you want to bet on? Zheng Xiaobing was surprised. The team seemed to be called NV. There is nothing outstanding in the performance. The only bright spot. Just advanced to the finals. This team is not good. They made it to the finals only because of luck. You should do the same as me and bet on other teams. Zheng Xiaobing advised. Chen He seemed to have made up his mind. Sometimes, luck is also a kind of strength. Damn, think about it again, if we bet right, we can win some money. Chen He glanced at Zheng Xiaobing. You can't say that you know the result in advance. I don't want to think about it anymore. That's it. Chen He stood up and was about to walk to the cashier. I'm afraid of you. You're my best friend. Since you're so patriotic, I'll sacrifice my life for you and suppress envy. Zheng Xiaobing took out 50 yuan from his wallet. Chen He smiled. This guy is very cute sometimes. I'll go, you play the game well. Chen He took the money from Zheng Xiaobing and went to the cashier. Hey, high school student, relaxing after your exams. Liu Chen glanced at Chen He. From the school uniform he was wearing, we could tell that he was still a student. And because Chen He was handsome, her liking for him increased, so she took the initiative to talk to him. Boss, I want to place a bet. Xiao Zhang, give him a form. Forget it. Go ahead and do your work. I'll do it myself. Liu Chen got up from the sofa and temporarily took over the job of the cashier girl. For the 4 teams in the finals, just write down the amount at the back. TTF team, VVV team, RGGH team, handsome guy, I suggest you bet on them. Chen He didn't listen to the other party's opinion. I immediately found the NV team on the form, with odds of 30 times. Chen He bet 90 yuan on this team without hesitation. Filled it out, this thing does work right. Chen He asked. Of course, go out and ask around. I, Liu Chen, am a man of my words. I just saw that you are quite good at using the rifle. Do you think we can practice together if there is a chance? Liu Chen also saw that Chen He had a special temperament and wanted to make friends with him. But he soon noticed that Chen He actually bet on NV. No, brother, you didn't listen to a word I said. If you bet on this team, you won't win a penny. Don't be fooled by the high odds. However, this team has not been very impressive before and does not have the potential to become a world champion. Liu Chen felt that Chen He was too naive. Whether there is potential or not is not up to you to decide. Maybe this team is a dark horse. Chen He grinned. After paying, I returned to my seat. Liu Chen shook his head helplessly. Your kindness is taken as an insult. Glancing at the computer screen, no matter how I look at it, this envy seems to be forced into a rut. It would be a miracle for them to win the world championship. But the reason why a miracle is called a miracle is because it never happens in reality. Chapter 22 1700. What are the odds? As soon as Chen He sat down, Zheng Xiaobing couldn't wait to ask. 30. So much. It was normal for Zheng Xiaobing to be surprised, as the odds were usually 3 to 1, or 16 to 1. The NV team did not have a great performance. No one would bet on a team that had no hope. One more. Liu Chen doesn't he look like someone who is short of money? You can tell from the fact that he is wearing all branded clothes and dressed like a rich young man. If we can't win, our money will be wasted. Zheng Xiaobing still feels sorry for the money. Chen He smiled. I've already given you the money. It's too late to regret it now. Zheng Xiaobing felt a little regretful. I should have divided my money in half. Chen He quit the game. I opened a webpage and saw the live broadcast of this world's top event. The explanation is also quite professional. However, the concept of esports has not yet become popular in China, and most people play games just for fun. It is difficult to link it with patriotic sentiment. I know why you suppressed envy. You want to be patriotic, but our money doesn't come from the wind. Zheng Xiaobing also quit the game and opened the live broadcast page. The more I watch, the more uncomfortable I feel. In his opinion, envy's performance was even worse than his. That's one aspect, but I believe they can win. Chen He grinned. Okay, I'll go all the way with you. By the way, if your family asks where your money went, I can lend it to you. Zheng Xiaobing said. Chen He waved his hand. He wanted to concentrate on watching the game. Not for now. In the first game of the finals, the result came out quickly. Envy won the foreign team. The commentator was spitting with excitement. All the foreign teams were stunned and found the result unbelievable. Win? How is this possible? Zheng Xiaobing widened his eyes. Why not? Our country's esports players are no worse than those abroad. Chen He looked as if he knew everything. In the world competitions held for several phenomenal games in the previous life, Chinese esports players have won world championships many times. Just wait, the era of esports for all will gradually arrive with the popularization of the internet. Until then, no one will underestimate the esports field in our country. Esports. Brother He, your summary is really simple and easy to understand. According to what you said, I should have unconditional trust in this team. Believe it. The other side. Liu Chen was also watching this top CS competition at the cashier counter. He frowned, a look of disbelief on his face. Lost. The TTF team I supported actually lost to NV. How funny is this? The TTF team is world-class in terms of personnel configuration and the level of coaches and players. NV is just an ordinary team with a weak presence. This is such good luck. Liu Chen found it hard to accept this result. At this time, a lot of complaints were heard in the internet cafe. This is acting, right? A world-class team actually lost to a small, mediocre team. There is something fishy going on. I suspect there is something fishy going on. TTF has the top sniper SAF, how can they still lose? My money is gone. Damn it. My 100 yuan. I also bet $20 on TTF, and this result is really disgusting. These are the people who bet on TTF team to win. If NV beat TTF, it was purely by luck. Then the entire finals are over. NV defeated world-class opponents continuously and finally won the World Championship. It was not a matter of luck, but a real display of strength. Congratulations to NV for winning the World Championship. The commentator excitedly announced this unexpected result. Liu Chen grabbed the monitor frame tightly and said, NV won? How is this possible? He explained the reasons. NV does not have the potential to be a world champion, nor does it have any players who can take the lead. But it seems that this finals is coming. The NV team members are quite united and have good working harmony. In the end, SKY ended the game with a headshot. It can be said to be quite exciting. Liu Chen was dumbfounded. He didn't expect this world game to be so dramatic. Dark horse, this is a pure dark horse. But he immediately looked towards a seat. He saw a calm and confident profile. This kid really hit the jackpot. This kid is so lucky. I think of NV's odds of 30 to 1. That kid bet 90 yuan, so I have to give him 2,700 yuan. 2,700 was definitely a huge sum of money in 2005. Liu Chen's face suddenly became uncomfortable. Although opening this internet cafe also makes money. But he still felt the pain of spending 2007 at once. The important thing is how to explain this to my sister. Half of the people in the internet cafe were playing CS, and when the results of the World Championship came out, they were all dumbfounded. The most promising TTF was eliminated at the start. On the contrary, NV, which was disliked by everyone, defeated 3 other world-class teams 3 times in a row and finally won the World Championship. There was a lot of complaints. On the contrary, Zheng Xiaobing was quite excited and happy. Brother He, Lord He, my ancestor, you are my real ancestor, and I really let you bet right. Zheng Xiaobing excitedly counted on his fingers. We bet 90 yuan, and if the odds are 30 to 1, how much is that? Don't worry, they can do it themselves. Chen He was quite calm. I have lived this life again and experienced death. What kind of storms can make me so scared? Chen He was worried whether the internet cafe would be willing to pay this money. Just at this moment, Liu Chen had a dark face, which didn't look very good at all, and came in front of Chen He. Zheng Xiaobing got scared on the spot, shrank his neck and didn't dare to look at others. Chen He looked at Liu Chen calmly. How? Liu Chen took a deep breath. This kid is different from others. When I face him myself, why does it feel like facing my sister? But he immediately thought that it might be his illusion. Chen He was just a student of 17 or 18 years old. How did you know NV would win? It should be, you seem to know NV would win, but that's not right, forget it, this is your win. Liu Chen felt that there was no need to delve into this issue. It was just that Chen He was lucky and guessed it right. He was also generous and willing to accept the loss and gave the money to Chen He. Liu Chen handed over a brick wrapped in newspaper, which contained cash. Zheng Xiaobing took it with trembling hands. Feeling the reality in the newspaper, his breathing became rapid. Chen He stood up, thank you. As soon as they left the internet cafe, Chen He told Zheng Xiaobing to get on his bike and leave quickly. Not long after they left, several men chased out of the internet cafe and saw that Chen He was nowhere to be seen on the street. They roared angrily on the spot. They are not Liu Chen's people. But Liu Chen saw all of this. He's a clever little devil. Just at this moment, a short-haired woman, followed by 2 bodyguards, walked into the internet cafe. Liu Chen immediately smiled. Sister, you are here. Liu Lan walked to the cashier counter with an expressionless face and checked the revenue details of the internet cafe. An expenditure of 2,700 yuan immediately caught her attention. I remember I gave you 3,000 as pocket money. Have you spent it all? Liu Lan stared at Liu Chen sharply, and Liu Chen shuddered with fear. Chapter 23 Brother He Takes Me. Liu Chen is afraid of his sister. Liu Lan is 3 years older than him. In addition, Liu Lan has been working hard in society and has her own aura. Liu Chen knew what Liu Lan wanted to know. He told her everything that had happened. Liu Lan raised her hand and was about to hit Liu Chen. Liu Chen held his head with both hands and shrank his neck. Sister, don't do it. I am the boss of this internet cafe after all. If you want to hit me, go home and fight me. Liu Lan finally gave up and said, this won't happen again. Also, starting today, your pocket money will be cut in half. I just lost the gambling game. This kind of thing depends entirely on luck. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for spoiling your younger brother too much. Liu Chen breathed a sigh of relief. He was prepared to be scolded. I didn't expect my sister to be soft-hearted. In fact, he also knew that he had gone a little too far this time. He secretly swore in his heart that he would never gamble so big next time. Liu Lan walked towards the second floor and suddenly stopped. Next time that guy comes online, notify me. Liu Chen was surprised and asked, Sister, you don't want to deal with that guy, do you? Liu Lan glared at Liu Chen and said, I'm not going to bother with a student. After saying that, he went upstairs. In her heart, she actually felt that there was something weird about this matter. A few $dozen is nothing to her. But for an ordinary family, which child has the courage to gamble on a completely unfavorable outcome? She became interested and wanted to meet this courageous man. Guangming Community. Chen He parked his bicycle next to a flower bed. He was panting. The same is true for Zheng Xiaobing. After coming out of the internet cafe, they pedaled their bicycles as hard as they could, fearing that they would be caught up. I can't believe I have so much money. Zheng Xiaobing still feels that his legs are light and fluttery. 2007. It is equivalent to his father's 2-month salary. Chen He took out the money he had won from his pocket under the moonlight. Then he counted 1,005. This is yours. Zheng Xiaobing's hands were shaking when he took the money. Pinch me now, am I dreaming? Chen He pinched Zheng Xiaobing's face amusingly. Ouch, it hurts, this is not a dream. Zheng Xiaobing felt pain and screamed in excitement. Sure, calm down. You're afraid that others won't know, right? Sure, I was wrong, I'll calm down. Zheng Xiaobing counted the bills in his hand over and over again, shaking with excitement. If you're not satisfied after counting once, keep counting. The air was filled with the sound of counting money. Brother He, you are really my lucky star. I never dreamed that one day I would have so much money. Zheng Xiaobing was still sighing. Chen He glanced at the white clouds in the sky. I am so happy to have this harvest today. Besides being lucky, I was able to go to that internet cafe to surf the internet. Then there was his experience in his previous life, which played a decisive role. I wish I had remembered the winning lottery numbers back then. 12,000 is indeed a huge sum of money in this era. I want to make more money in the future. Xiaobing, do you want to continue to make more money? Chen He glanced at Zheng Xiaobing. He always remembered the brotherhood between him and Zheng Xiaobing in his previous life. If you want to get rich, you naturally want to bring your brothers along. Of course. Everyone has their own aspirations. I also respect Zheng Xiaobing's choice. For most students at this age, having $2 or $3 in their pocket is considered a huge sum of money. The temptation of 1,500 is too great. If I am not a human being in two lives, I guess they are also thinking about how to enjoy themselves with this money. Zheng Xiaobing answered without even thinking, of course I do. Who doesn't want to make money? Have money. Eat well and drink well. It can also allow parents to live a good life. I have a way to make money. I guarantee you can make more money than you are making now. After you finish your exam this afternoon, go home and think about it. When you have thought it through, give me your answer. Chen He said this seriously. After all, I am also a reborn person. With the memories and experience from the previous life, there are plenty of ways to make money. It all depends on Zheng Xiaobing's own wishes. No matter what, I will respect Zheng Xiaobing's choice. Brother He, I don't have to think about it. Without you, I wouldn't be able to make this 1,500 now. So, if there is any way to make money, I am willing to follow you. Zheng Xiaobing scratched his head. But can you let me hold this money for one night? I have never seen so much money in my life. Look at you, I've already told you that you have to do everything according to my instructions. Chen He was also speechless, and then said seriously. I'm fine with that. The last exam in the afternoon is English. Chen He thought it was too simple. Whether it is listening questions or reading comprehension questions, the level of the questions is almost the same as the ones I do every day. Based on the full score of 150, he can conservatively score 140 in this exam. It was still finished half an hour ahead of schedule. Chen He originally wanted to see if there were any students cheating in the classroom. To his relief, there are no cheaters in this classroom. What he didn't know was, he also gained a certain fame among the candidates. Those students who were originally planning to cheat had to give up cheating in the exam after hearing about his existence. The bell rang, the exam was over, and Chen He walked out of the exam room confidently. Different from the morning. A large number of students' parents have gathered outside the examination hall. Chen He pushed the bicycle and was just about to ride it. Suddenly 3 or 4 people blocked the way. Chen He recognized at a glance that one of them was the cheater who had made the harsh remarks in the morning. This group of people looks like they have bad intentions. Obviously. The other party called people and waited for Chen He to come out for revenge. Chen He also became nervous. He can't handle so many people by himself. They are all tall and strong, and it seems that they are well prepared. Just when Chen He was thinking about whether to call for help, suddenly a young man came up from behind. No fighting. The young man walked over and knocked one man down with one punch, which shocked everyone. We were wrong. We are leaving now. This group of people gave in on the spot. They all realized that the young man was not someone to be trifled with and that he definitely knew some kung fu. Thank you. Chen He breathed a sigh of relief. You don't have to thank me. I didn't do it for you. The young man didn't even look at Chen He and turned away. Chen He looked puzzled. Student Chen He, are you okay? Xu Xiu ran over from the entrance of the examination room. She just saw Chen He being surrounded. I'm fine. Student Chen He, this is my QQ number. Xu Xiu lowered her head and shyly handed Chen He a piece of paper with a QQ number on it, 1434. I'll accept it and add you as my friend later. Chen He smiled and waited at the door for a while. He was very disappointed when he didn't see Feng Xie come out. Let's go, Shuxiu. The two then got on their bicycles and left. Not far away, in a black Mercedes, Feng Xie was sitting in the back seat. She looked at Chen He and Shuxiu talking and laughing with sadness, and felt very uncomfortable. The young man opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. Xiaoxia, your classmate's trouble is solved. Chapter 24 Ways to Make Money. Feng Xie didn't say anything, just stared at the figure in a daze. Chen He, what is your relationship with Shuxiu? She had originally planned to meet Chen He, but he happened to see Chen He being blocked by someone, so he asked his brother Feng Dong to help. Feng Dong has practiced boxing, so it was easy for him to deal with a few thugs. But she saw Shuxiu give Chen He a note. Is it a love letter? Why did Chen He accept it readily instead of refusing? Feng Xie was lost in thought. Does Chen He dislike himself? Could it be that I expressed my feelings wrongly? Xiaoxia. Feng Dong's words brought Feng Xie back to reality. My parents and I hope that you can get into Peking University or Tsinghua University, and when you graduate, you can come to work in the family company. Before that, we don't want you to be distracted by other things. These words sound like a warning. Feng Xie understood what Feng Dong meant. Brother, Chen He and I are just ordinary classmates. Feng Dong glanced at Feng Xie in the rearview mirror. Just know your limits. After Feng Dong finished speaking, he started the car and left. Feng Xie leaned back in her seat and slowly closed her eyes. Chen He finished his last exam. There was no rush to go home. He rode his bicycle on the street, keeping an eye on the shops on both sides of the road. Because in his eyes, business opportunities may be hidden there. Chen He. Zheng Xiaobing caught up from behind on a bicycle. What are you doing here? Zheng Xiaobing asked curiously. Find a way to make money. Chen He smiled gently. Is there a way to make money on the street? Zheng Xiaobing couldn't believe it. There are nothing but cars on the streets. How to make money? Zheng Xiaobing's face suddenly turned horrified. Are you planning to commit fraud? No, that's too dangerous. You can't afford the tuition for college, but there's no need to be so extreme. How about you and I work part-time during the summer vacation to earn tuition? Zheng Xiaobing spoke a lot in a panic. Chen He said unhappily, what are you thinking about? Am I that kind of person? Stop imagining nonsense. Zheng Xiaobing breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Chen He is not planning to commit fraud, it will be fine. What if Chen He was really in difficulty and couldn't afford the tuition for college? At worst, you can just be thick-skinned and borrow from your parents. I must let my good brother go to college without any worries. A shop called Jishengtang caught Chen He's attention. Chen He had some impression of Jishengtang. This is a time-honored brand that specializes in burn ointment. Jishengtang's burn ointment is quite famous locally. Basically every household has bought it. When Chen He was a child, he was accidentally scalded by boiling water, and Han Li used Jishengtang's burn ointment to heal him. After applying it, it felt cool and the pain disappeared immediately. Chen He was deeply impressed by it. But as far as I can remember, this Jishengtang disappeared later on. Chen He didn't know the reason. But he decided to go in and find out the situation first. You want to buy some medicine? Zheng Xiaobing was puzzled. Keep an eye on the bike while I go in and take a look. Chen He walked into Jishengtang. Although Zheng Xiaobing didn't know Chen He's purpose, he still chose to believe him. Student, what do you want to buy? As Chen He just walked in, an old man behind the counter asked. The hall was filled with the fragrance of herbs. What comes into view is a row of medicine cabinets. This place looks like a Chinese medicine clinic. I'm just taking a look. Chen He finished speaking. The old man did not ask any further questions. Chen He found that the business in this shop was slow. Logically speaking, a well-known old brand in the local area shouldn't be so deserted. Just when Chen He was confused. Dad, I looked for a few, but no one wanted our recipe. Many wanted our store instead. A young man in his 30s walked in. He was the old man's son. The old man sighed. Our burn ointment is becoming less and less popular, and fewer people know about it. Don't blame them, just go to a few more stores. Jishengtang was founded during the Republic of China era. Burn ointment was popular all over the country at that time. But decades passed. People use burn ointment less and less. Last year, the sales volume of Jishengtang burn ointment had declined significantly. 1 year. Jishengtang has become a deserted place. The old man also knows. If Jishengtang can change, it can develop products that meet current market demands in addition to burn ointment. Maybe it can survive for a while. But the burn ointment is the reason for Jishengtang's existence. He didn't want to give up his father's legacy. Destroyed by own hands. Boss, are you planning to sell the recipe for the burn ointment? Chen He asked with interest. Why are you, a student, asking about this? The old man's son spoke in a bad tone. It seems that he doesn't want to say it. The old man raised his hand. Go and get busy, there is nothing for you to do here. The young man left. The old man glanced at Chen He. To be honest, our burn ointment is not selling well now. We have no choice but to sell it. As the old man spoke, he took out a photo of a lively and innocent little girl. The photo shows his granddaughter. He is only 4 years old this year. Just recently, I was diagnosed with heart disease. To cure it, surgery is needed. And surgery costs a lot of money. The old man could only sell his ancestral recipe to raise enough money for his granddaughter's surgery. Why aren't they selling well? Have you ever thought about the reason? Chen He asked. If it can't be sold, it can't be sold. It must be that no one needs it anymore. The old man answered as a matter of course. Chen He said nothing more and turned and left. Is there a way to make money here? Zheng Xiaobing saw Chen He coming out and couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. This old brand is looking for a seller and plans to sell its ancestral recipe. This may be our opportunity. Chen He said as he thought. But we have a total of 2,700 yuan. Can we get their formula? I don't think it's possible. You're not really planning to buy this formula, are you? I think you'd better forget it. They can't run the business well themselves, so how can we run it well if we give it to them? Zheng Xiaobing raised questions and suggestions. A decades-old brand just disappeared because of lack of customers. This shows that their products are no longer suitable for the current market. That is to say, they are destined to be eliminated. I can't just watch my good brother make the wrong choice. Chen He said confidently, believe it or not, if you give it to me, I can guarantee that this burn ointment can bring the dead back to life. Zheng Xiaobing was stunned for a moment. He didn't want to undermine Chen He's confidence. But this sounds too good to be true. Brother He, please listen to my advice. Let's find some other way to make money. I really don't think this one is a good idea. Chen He neither agreed nor refused, but said calmly, don't touch your 1,500 for now, I'll tell you when I need it. Zheng Xiaobing had no complaints. If it weren't for Chen He wouldn't have been able to get so much money. I'll give you this 15,000 right now. I'm afraid my parents will find out and it will be hard to explain. Chen He nodded. Then let me keep it first. Chapter 25, Stop Flattering. Brother He, what ways have you thought of to make money? Zheng Xiaobing handed the money to Chen He. Open an online store, earn the first pot of gold, accumulate a certain amount of funds, and then enter other large-scale fields. Chen He grinned. Zheng Xiaobing's face was full of question marks, thinking he had heard it wrong. I know about online stores, but can they really make money? He understood the latter sentence. But for online stores, it is only at the elementary concept of opening a store on the internet. Of course, you know Taobao, right? It has launched the C2C model not long ago. Simply put, it is a personal store operation model where individuals can open stores and complete transactions through online buying and selling. 2005. As the internet became popular, the e-commerce field has also ushered in a major historical change. Taobao's city boss launched C2C model. This attracted a large number of individual operators to flock to Daocheng. Data shows that year, there are more than tens of thousands of online stores on Daocheng alone. The number of daily user views on Taobao exceeded 60 million. This shows that online shopping malls are a business opportunity with very broad prospects and huge market potential. I know about Taobao, but is it safe? What if I buy fakes? Zheng Xiaobing raised questions. Chen He put his hands on Zheng Xiaobing's shoulders. Why don't we just be the one that only sells genuine products? Zheng Xiaobing touched his head and felt that he could not keep up with Chen He's thinking. Can you do it? Take out that word, Mar. If I say yes, it will definitely work. Chen He said confidently. With the popularization of the internet, with the emergence of mobile payment, people increasingly need to shop online to fulfill their needs of buying things without leaving home. Physical stores will be severely impacted by then. Do you know why Jishengtang can't continue? Chen He asked. How would I know? I'm still a high school student. Brother He, you think too highly of me. Zheng Xiaobing shook his head. That's because, after all, Jishengtang is too geographically limited and too dependent on the local area. Chen He began to analyze. Jishengtang's burn ointment is good, but only locals know about it. People from other places don't know about it at all. In addition, the burn ointment does not have a large audience and the market size is small. Over the years, the market has been saturated, and oversupply is the main reason. Chen He said confidently. If I were the boss of Jishengtang, I would spare no effort to expand overseas markets and promote the reputation of my own burn ointment. Zheng Xiaobing was stunned when he heard this. He felt like he was listening to a foreign language. It's not that I don't understand. If he were to analyze it himself, his analysis would definitely not be as professional and thorough as Chen He's. Brother He, besides studying every day, you think about this in your mind. I admire you. Stop flattering me, do you understand? I understand. You plan to open an online store to sell burn cream, right? Chen He nodded. Online store is not the only way out for Jishengtang. But it is definitely the best way out. The problem is, we don't have the money to buy the formula. Zheng Xiaobing was in a dilemma. You are stupid, why do we have to buy the formula? Chen He gave Zheng Xiaobing a cold look. If there is only a formula but no production line and workers, what is the point of buying it? How can you open an online store without buying the recipe? You go home first, I'll sort out my thoughts. Then I'll reply. If there is any news, please inform me as soon as possible. Zheng Xiaobing got on his bike and left. What we need most right now is funding. He decided to sign an agency distribution contract with Jishengtang. Certainly. While ensuring the maximization of its own interests, it can also really help Jishengtang come back to life. I guess my parents are off work too. Chen He didn't think any more and rode his bike back home. Entered the community. A thin young man came towards me. Lazy. Chen He, you're done with school. I just finished my exam. What? I'm out of money again. Zhao Lei looked embarrassed and touched his head. He just came out from home. I want to go online. But there is no money in my pocket. If I go home and ask for it, my parents will definitely not give it to me. No, I just came out for a walk. Here's 10 yuan, take it and spend it sparingly. Chen He took out the money from his pocket and handed it over. Zhao Lei showed a happy smile, took the money, and then asked doubtfully, Chen He, where did you get the money? I still have money in my pocket, enough for me to spend. You don't have to worry. Chen He saw that Zhao Lei was worried that he had no money to spend, so he explained. Okay, thank you Chen He, I'll return it to you another day. After saying this, Zhao Lei waved and left. Chen He pushed his bicycle into the apartment building. This Zhao Lei is the son of our neighbor Wang Yanli. He doesn't like going to school and often skips classes to surf the internet, but he is not a bad person. It may be due to lack of parental discipline. Zhao Lei later hung out with a group of hooligans. Gradually they embarked on a path of no return of looting, smashing, stealing and robbing. In 2014, Zhao Lei was sentenced to 8 years in prison for theft. The following year, he died of serious injuries in a fight in prison. Before that, his mother Han Li once offended a few gangsters. Zhao Lei said nothing. He went up and taught a few thugs a lesson. He is kind to his mother. As Chen He climbed the stairs, he thought that he must help Zhao Lei in this life and change his tragic and unfortunate fate. Mom and Dad, I'm back. Chen He took out the key and opened the door. Han Li and Chen Kachin had been waiting on the sofa for a long time. How did you do on the test? Han Li asked. It's okay. English is pretty easy. I'm confident I can get 140. Chen He said as he changed his shoes and put his school bag back into the bedroom. When you come out again. Mom, I'm hungry, what do you want to eat? Han Li stood up. Let's have some egg noodles. I'll cook 2 dishes first, and you two can have a chat first. Han Li went to the kitchen to busy herself. Chen He sat down on the sofa next to Chen Kachin. Dad, don't worry, I will definitely be admitted to Jiangcheng University. Chen Kachin said, I know you have confidence, and it's a good thing to have confidence, but what if you don't pass the exam? What are your plans? If you fail the exam, there are only 2 options. One is to continue repeating. Another option is to give up further studies and become an apprentice to learn a skill. Then repeat 1 more year. Although I can confidently say that I can definitely be admitted to Jiangcheng University. But he didn't. Before the college entrance examination results come out. No matter how beautifully you speak, it's not convincing. Chen He knew that all parents hoped that their children could get into college. Only knowledge can change your destiny. Giving up further studies and entering society early does not provide good prospects. Chen Kachin smiled with relief. I will betray you even if I have to sell everything I have. Chen He nodded. I felt the heaviness of this expectation. He swore secretly in his heart. When the college entrance examination results come out, I will make sure my parents become the most glorious people in the community. Mom and Dad, I'm going out. Chen He said goodbye to his parents early in the morning. Han Li and Chen Kachin didn't say anything. Now that my son has finished the college entrance examination, it is appropriate for him to relax. Chapter 26 News from the Previous Life. I can use my sales experience from my previous life to convince the boss of Jishengtang. But right now, a large amount of startup capital is still required. The 2,700 yuan that Zheng Xiaobing and I won was only enough to open an online store and pay for express delivery fees. Jishengtang burn ointment is only limited to the local area and will only be buried. Through e-commerce, it can be projected into thousands of households. Chen He suddenly felt dizzy. He had to park his bike on the side of the road. Suddenly, several images flashed through my mind. An internet cafe suddenly caught fire. The fire could not be stopped at all, and the raging flames surrounded the entire hall. The people inside had no time to escape and were all burned to death. Chen He was stunned. What was the horrifying scene you saw? Is this the ability I gained after my rebirth? Can you foresee the future? But he suddenly remembered. 1 day of this month. That is 3 days later. There was indeed a big fire in an internet cafe. There were heavy casualties and it caused quite a big commotion. It was reported in the news and even alarmed the city leaders. The cause was aging of the lines, which caused a short circuit in the wires and thus a fire. Because the fire was fierce. This ultimately resulted in the tragic death of 53 people, including the internet cafe owner and customers. Internet cafe, what's the name of that internet cafe? He was deeply impressed by the description of the internet cafe in the news. The internet cafe is very clean and tidy. It is said that the boss's sister doesn't like dirty and messy environment. After the internet cafe owner's sister learned about the tragedy, the pain of losing her brother was unbearable for her. He committed suicide by jumping off a building the following month. Chen He took a breath. 54 lives. I must prevent this tragedy. Chen He suddenly remembered. The internet cafe owner's sister is a very famous businessman in the local area. If I helped her, can we attract some investment? This way, you will have the startup capital. Chen He does what he thinks, time waits for no one. He was worried that something might happen if he delayed. In 2005, e-commerce experienced a growth spurt. He is not the only one who sees the huge development potential in the e-commerce field. Once someone gets there first, it's too late to regret. Half an hour later, Chen He arrived at the entrance of Xinlan Internet Cafe. He didn't go in. If you go in rashly, people will only think you are looking for trouble. And it also destroys its own sense of mystery. Brother, please help me pass this note to the owner of the internet cafe, thank you. Chen He stopped a customer who was surfing the internet. Please ask the other party to bring in the note he wrote in advance. Why don't you go by yourself? The man was obviously not very happy to help. I'll give you $5, will you help me? If not, I'll find someone else. No, I helped you. The man snatched the money from Chen He's hand and walked into the internet cafe. Chen He rode away on his bicycle. At this time, Liu Lan was sitting at the cashier counter of the internet cafe. Liu Chen went to help her collect some bad debts. She came to the internet cafe to help look after the business. Although she doesn't like the profit of internet cafes. But no matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. Boss, how much per hour? 3 yuan. I'll top up 10 yuan and I'll give you a pack of instant noodles. Liu Lan helped the man start the machine. Sit anywhere. The man took a pack of instant noodles and found a seat to sit down. The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He stood up and went to the cashier. Boss, someone asked me to give this to you. Liu Lan gave the man a strange look. The sharp eyes made the man feel creepy. Who gave it to me? I don't know him, he's just a student, quite young. Student? Why did he give me this? He didn't say. Go and have fun. Liu Lan waved her hand impatiently. The man turned around as if he had been pardoned. He always felt that there was an aura from Liu Lan that frightened him. Liu Lan held the note in her hand but did not open it immediately. It can't be a love letter. Liu Lan laughed at herself. She is beautiful, with delicate features, and has a lot of suitors. There are many guys among them who think they are very romantic. Maybe this is what someone came up with. Liu Lan thought about it and decided to open the note and read the contents. The note opened. A piece of text came to mind. The electrical wires in your internet cafe pose a serious safety hazard and could cause a fire. If you don't want to lose your brother and kill innocent people, please repair them immediately. Liu Lan's eyes widened. She threw the note away angrily. Her chest heaved with anger. She regretted opening the note to check it. As a result, I saw such a stupid text. She felt that the person who wrote this text must have some serious mental illness. This was obviously done on purpose. Mischief? Scare yourself. Liu Lan sneered, you are so stupid to use such a cheap method to attract my attention. She didn't believe what the text said at all. How could electrical wires pose a safety hazard? The wires are covered with insulating rubber. She really couldn't think of it. How insulated wires catch fire? It's really unlucky. Liu Lan was very angry. She thought the other party was cursing her brother. She stood up. He picked up the landline phone on the cash register and angrily started to make a call. No one could play such a joke under her nose. And he was making fun of his own brother. This is not funny at all. But she immediately put down the phone. Never mind. There is no need to bother with such people. Ignoring is the best response to such people. Sis, I'm back and I've done it. You have to treat me to a nice dinner. Liu Chen was carrying a cowhide bag in his hand. He takes credit as soon as he comes in. You're not even trying to be nice after getting such a good deal. Liu Lan said unhappily. Is it not too much to treat me to a roasted whole lamb? You are so rich, why do you care about such a small amount of money? My money didn't come from the wind, so please be frugal with the money I gave you. Liu Lan stood up and was about to leave. Sister, go back. I'll take you there. Liu Chen just walked Liu Lan out of the internet cafe. A large shower of sparks suddenly erupted from the electric pole in the middle of the road. It was fleeting, but very scary. The wires caught fire instantly, attracting onlookers. The power is out. Network administrator, is there a power outage? I'm in the middle of a team battle in my game, why is it down at this time? What the hell? I was chatting with my girlfriend, why did the power go out all of a sudden? Customers in the internet cafe immediately started to complain. Liu Chen said with a dark face, what bad luck. My computer is most afraid of a hard restart. If it burns out, the cost of repairing the machine alone will be enough to make me suffer. He didn't notice that Liu Lan had a dazed look on her face at this moment. Brother, how could this wire catch fire? Liu Lan asked blankly. Generally, if the lines are aging, it is easy to cause a short circuit, which can cause a fire. Have you checked the lines in this internet cafe? Sister, you are too worried. Liu Chen didn't take it seriously and thought Liu Lan was just scared. But then Liu Lan said something. Liu Chen was so frightened that he lost his soul. Your internet cafe doesn't have an escape route, right? If a fire breaks out, how are the people inside going to get out? Chapter 27 The Frightened Brother and Sister. Liu Chen was speechless when asked. He bought this internet cafe from someone else. The original owner of the internet cafe had no idea how to build an escape route. After he took over, I didn't care about these details. I can't be so unlucky that something went wrong in the internet cafe. Everyone has blind self-confidence. Liu Chen also believed that he had always had good luck. There will definitely be no problems in internet cafes. Have you taken any other security measures? How many fire extinguishers are there in the internet cafe? Judging from Liu Chen's expression, Liu Lan had already gotten the answer she wanted. After all, she is the elder sister. Consider things more comprehensively. Liu Chen's face turned red. He was a little angry, but he didn't dare to get angry with his sister. What fire extinguisher do you need? It's like my own internet cafe is going to catch fire. Isn't this just asking for bad luck? Come with me, Liu Lan said seriously. Without further ado, he went straight back to the internet cafe. She was now eager to confirm one thing. I'm sorry, the lines outside are under maintenance. The internet cafe is closed today. Come back next time and I'll give you a 10 yuan discount. Liu Lan said loudly. Xiao Zhao, please register everyone's ID card numbers later. Next time they come, you can add 10 yuan to their cards. I understand, Sister Lan. The cashier girl nodded, her eyes full of admiration. Sister Lan is indeed someone who can do great things. There was a power outage just now, and she was really afraid that she wouldn't be able to handle this group of guests. Now, none of these customers have any complaints, and they all come to her to register calmly. Sister, where are you taking me? Liu Chen wondered. He felt that Liu Lan was a little different from the beginning. All the questions asked are inexplicable. Come with me to the switch room, Liu Lan said without question. Seeing Liu Lan's sharp eyes, Liu Chen dared not say anything and followed her obediently. Come to the distribution room. Sister, what's wrong with you? I really don't understand what you are going to do, Liu Chen asked. Let me ask you, have you checked these wires? Liu Lan pointed to the black lines on the ground beneath her feet. This was the distribution room, and the wiring was complicated. No, I don't think so, Liu Chen stammered. Liu Lan's heart tightened. She knew the answer from Liu Chen's reaction. Call someone to check it out right away, Liu Lan ordered. Sister, you didn't see the electric poles suddenly catch fire and think that our wires will also catch fire, right? Liu Chen said in disbelief. When he took over this internet cafe, the previous boss told him with assurance. There is nothing wrong with this internet cafe inside and outside. He felt that Liu Lan was making a big deal out of nothing. My luck won't be that bad. The pole catching fire was just an accident. Are you going or not? If you don't go, I will. Liu Lan was about to make a phone call after she finished speaking. Liu Chen saw Liu Lan's persistence and quickly took out the Motorola V3 mobile phone from his pocket. I dialed a number and half an hour later a technician who was specifically responsible for repairing the lines came. The master checked the circuits in the distribution room according to Liu Lan's instructions, and immediately frowned. Boss, you can't tell from the outside that your wiring is old, but it's very old. If you don't replace it, it will be a huge safety hazard. Liu Lan was shocked on the spot. Liu Chen was also a little panicked. What will happen if I don't change it? The electrician repairman glanced at Liu Chen. Aging lines can directly cause short circuits in the wires, which can then cause fires. I just saw that your distribution room is on the underground floor, and there are flammable materials all around. Once a fire breaks out, the fire will spread directly to the internet cafe upstairs. Your internet cafe is located in an upwind location. Once a fire breaks out, it will be impossible to control it. Liu Lan's face had turned pale. Liu Chen even broke out in a cold sweat. The electrician's words were actually being very tactful. Master, please change it quickly. No matter how much it costs, please change it quickly. Liu Chen swallowed and made a decision. All the wires in the switch room need to be replaced. For safety reasons. Liu Lan also asked Liu Chen to buy insulating and fireproof materials. Completely protect the walls of the switch room. This way, even if an accident happens, it can also give people enough time to react. The door of the internet cafe was closed at this time. The rest area on the second floor of the internet cafe is Liu Chen's private bedroom, with a bed, a TV, a sofa, and a pool table. Liu Chen looked frightened and wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Sister, I was really scared just now. If it really caught fire, no one would be able to escape. Liu Lan was also still frightened. She couldn't think. If a fire breaks out in the internet cafe, I wonder if I would be able to bear the pain of losing my brother. After a while, the brother and sister calmed down. Thanks to you for reminding me, otherwise I wouldn't have known that I had been sitting on a bomb. Liu Chen said. He thought Liu Lan must have seen the electric wires on the street catch fire. Just thought of reminding myself. Thank you, sister. I'll treat you to hot pot later. Liu Lan waved her hand. You shouldn't thank me. Sister, who else should I thank if not you? We are siblings, so don't be polite. I'm not being polite. I don't actually believe that electrical wires can catch fire. Liu Lan blushed, feeling embarrassed for exposing her own short-sightedness in front of her brother. Take a look at this. Liu Lan took out a note from her body. Liu Chen took it curiously and saw some words on it that seemed to predict the future. Sister, who gave you this? Don't ask who it is yet. What do you think? What else do you think? Of course I am grateful 100 times. Liu Chen said very straightforwardly. If no one reminded him, he would not pay attention to whether the wires in the distribution room were aging. If this continues, disaster is bound to happen. If he were even more unlucky and happened to be in an internet cafe, the consequences would be disastrous. You have to thank others. Liu Lan nodded. Thanking them is what I should do. Liu Lan felt that the person who wrote the note must be very friendly. Just at this moment, Liu Chen's face suddenly changed. Sister, that's not right. My switch room has always been locked. The key is with me. No one has ever been in except me. How did this person know? No one else has been in there. Yes, there has been no problem, so I haven't been to the power distribution room since I took over this internet cafe. Liu Lan was so surprised that she stood there in a daze for a moment. Yes. How did the person who wrote the note know? Could it be the former owner of the internet cafe? Impossible, he is just an illiterate upstart. Liu Lan was also confused. Could it be that the man can tell fortunes? Sister, who gave you the note? I don't know either. Since he reminded us with good intentions, he shouldn't be a bad person, but what is his purpose? Liu Chen asked with a frown.